semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Super Bowl Monday edition of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, how you doing, my good buddy?
Crudy, I'm all right, man. A little tired after the Super Bowl weekend. But, you know, I'm up and at 'em here. Lots of news, lots of things going on. So, yeah, I'm kind of stoked. And my team won. Sorry about that, Brian. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'll be there next year.
Now,
Yeah.
did you watch the game, or I didn't know? Were you going to wait for the transcripts?
No, I watched the game. I think I saw almost every single score. It was quite the offensive experience.
It was quite offensive.
I did just see a statistic, and we'll certainly talk politics soon, Dom. There's lots and lots of politics to talk. Hell, Foxconn, Fancy Brian just talked about the fact that 8 times the incentive per job, over $200,000 per job.
Wisconsin, #1 in giving away your tax dollars.
Why don't we make direct hires? Wouldn't we do better?
Like an infrastructure project or something?
Yeah, why not?
Work on the roads.
Why are we giving that money to another corporation to go and hire people that we're not even taxing? If they are profitable, we, the Wisconsin citizens, garner no benefit whatsoever due to the manufacturer and agribusiness tax credit here in the state of Wisconsin. And we've got another manufacturer, Kimberly-Clark, going to close a couple plants here in the state of Wisconsin, lose about 600 workers. Scott Walker, the breaking news today, he wants to drop another Foxconn deal for the Kimberly-Clark Corporation. I'm like, what, overpaying for employees to the 8-fold? What sort of sweet deal you got in mind, Walker?
You get a Weedick deal, and you get a Weedick deal. Everybody gets a Weedick deal.
Corporate welfare for all his friends. Well, we'll talk about that. We're going to bring in a fine candidate for lieutenant governor here in the state of Wisconsin. He's a friend of ours. Mandela, I suspect he'll have a few comments on the Foxconn, but he had a few comments about one of the ads last night, Dom. They didn't all go over as well as others. The MLK speech, if I had a Ram Pickups appropriating an MLK speech on the 50th anniversary of the giving of that very same said speech. And I like that commercial right up until the Ram part. I mean, hell, I like the Ram Vikings commercial, you know, when all the Vikings got in the back. And they were playing what? Old Queen. Not the common version of Queen, but cool old Queen. That was a super cool, you know, Vikings row across the water. They get to Minneapolis. They realize they're not welcome there because, you know, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, wait, they didn't?
Very ironic.
Oh,
you know,
sorry about that, Vikings.
Burn.
Oh, it's got to hurt a little
That
bit.
was a good Ram ad. Saw quite a few Tide ads. I think everybody saw quite a few Tide ads. I think they won the night. I can't imagine how much money they spent. Like $5 million per 30 seconds. How much money did Tide spend last night to turn the page?
I didn't see anybody
eating
eating any
Tide
Tide
Pods.
Pods. Right, exactly. Do what you got to do. I figure people are talking about them anyway. May as well get out in front.
Not for human consumption anymore, just for clean clothes. This could be a Tide ad right now, Dom.
That's why I wear black. You don't got to worry about it.
But yeah, I thought that one was clever. Couple of Badgers did real well. James White, running back for the Patriots. Losers. And, of course, Corey Clement, a rookie for the Eagles, went undrafted, but a fine back, a Badger. One of my guys, Tom. My son, very proud of Corey Clement. I said, what about James White? He's like, who?
Who? What?
I'm like, the kid scored a couple of touchdowns last year. I think he got a 2-point conversion. But my son, a little too young to acknowledge the fine career that James White had at the UW. Didn't even know too young to know.
It was a lot of fun. You know, the commercials, and I know we'll get into it a little bit with Mandela perhaps later in the hour. I thought as bad as the Dodge Ram MLK ad was, T-Mobile I thought did a fine job,
buddy.
On their ad.
Stock market's now down 1,500 on the day. It went from down 500 to 1,500, about a 6% drop. And if they crack below 24,000, it could be
10 minutes ago at the beginning of the show. At the beginning of the show, it was 785.
Yeah, so it's doubled in the last 10 minutes. It's lost down 5.85%. Let's not forget, last week it was down another 666 points on Friday alone.
Over 2,000 points since the Nunez
we're pushing
memo.
6, 7. We're pushing 8, 9% here in the last week or so. It looks like a correction, perhaps, as we're watching.
But let's talk about the Super Bowl a little more.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to jump off topic.
Well,
I just glanced up and
deal.
thought, "Wow, the Dow's down almost 6% on the day."
Let's see what Trump's tweeting out about it. I'm sure it's all because of him, right?
Here's the really good news for me personally, Dom. I cashed out the day after Trump's election.
I've been out of the market.
I didn't see any of the run up, and I'm not losing any money when it goes down. I can watch this as an observer, just thinking, holy.
Yeah, it's crazy, folks. But I gotta ask, Brian, our resident New England Patriots fan, and you lived in that neck of the woods for a while, right? So you're a real fan. You're not just a betting fan.
Yeah, I remember Steve Grogan. I remember Irving Fryer. The first football game I ever even cared about was when the Patriots got absolutely destroyed by the Bears.
And did you cry last night?
We're the Bears.
I did not cry last night.
You did not shed a tear.
No, because it wasn't like a ridiculously frustrating loss. They still had a chance to win at it went down to the last play of the game. They still had a chance to possibly jump up there.
They did.
Listen, I'll throw it up to Gronkowski. I'll take that 50-50 any day.
He's a big fella down there.
Yeah, so
it was entertaining, though, right? Were you entertained?
I was absolutely entertained.
I was entertained. Were you not entertained, Crudy?
I found the halftime dragged on a bit.
I love JT. That was awesome.
I love Justin Timberlake, too, and I don't often talk about top 40 singers with sort of a bromantic tone. I really respect. I think he is one of the most talented guys, bar none. Acts, sings, dances.
Funny guy. He's
funny
a funny guy,
which I totally appreciate. But he could have left like 3 of those songs out of the whole collage.
And maybe came out with the D in a box. I think everybody was waiting for that one.
If you just don't accept any boxes from him if you do get any.
Okay, but what about the Prince thing? I thought it was fine. I had no problem with it.
I don't like appropriation of dead people. They can't say,
can't you honor,
I never
man?
liked
Come on,
JT.
Man, you're honoring the guy.
You can't not bring up Prince. There's no possible way you could have not brought up Prince at that time.
Well,
you could have. City Purple was pretty cool.
Sure, my wife liked that quite a bit. I'm thinking, well, it is supposed to be the Viking City. They got some purple light bulbs laying around. Nobody's using them this year. But I didn't like the appropriation of the man's image. The curtain, the holographic sort of playing a Prince. Play the music, honor the music. Leave the man out of it. Leave his image out of it. I mean, why no Tupac hologram?
Because Tupac wasn't from Minneapolis, man. What's the difference between the music and the image in your mind? Well, why do you make that distinction?
You can license the music. I mean, the man, he was an artist, but he still commercially licensed his music.
Pretty sure.
But to appropriate his image,
he didn't rip it off the internet, dude. I bet whatever was done was probably paid.
I suspect yes. But I didn't like the appropriation of Prince's image any more than I like the appropriation of MLK's speech to sell Dodge Ram pickup trucks.
That was perhaps a little tone deaf.
I thought it lagged a little bit. Hey, good news. Market's only down 1,000 now.
Oh, see, it's coming back already.
It's rebounded. It's only off a little under 4% on the day.
If you sold when it was down 6% and then you bought now, you only lost 3%. Perhaps it's a buying opportunity, Michael.
Too bad. We got a little radio show to do, Dom.
Damn it.
What about the President of the United States had to inject himself into the atmosphere of the
No, I totally missed it. I totally missed it.
He tweeted out like everybody stood because I told him to, basically, taking
Like
credit.
right after the game started. He was
I believe
tweeting.
for the patriotism. I think Pink sang the national anthem.
Yeah, I missed that too.
I heard the others. I was waiting for Pink to start, and I went scrambling for a beverage or whatever I did. I came back. I never saw Pink. I heard she spit her gum and was feeling a little flu-like, and I'm thinking, well, I think we've all been feeling a little flu-like since this man's been president. But Trump tweeted something out about no protest. You could look it up, man.
I can look it up.
It's worth the Google. But I believe he basically was implying, everybody stood up so we didn't have to drag any of those sons of bitches out. Right, Tom? A little rip at the Black Lives Matter movement, a little shot at Colin Kaepernick, and a little shot at the NFL overall. Find the one, went out about 5 o'clock, about 6 o'clock Eastern time, Dom.
No, actually, I see some tweets from February 3rd. Then we got one, thoughts and prayers about the train collision in South Carolina. And then a congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Son of a bitch.
On a great Super Bowl victory.
What, is that all he said?
That's all I'm seeing right now.
Well, I guess I must have imagined that. That must be fake news, Dom. I made that up.
Don't be making it up.
Are you sure? Did you pull up his tweet stream or just the
I'm
name
actually
Donald Trump?
looking at the real Donald Trump tweet stream, and I'm looking at dates right here, February 3rd, 1 day, and then 16 hours, and then today. Getting back to his good old self.
I tell you what, I'll do the Googling. I'm going to look
Google
it up.
that.
That was my understanding. He had something to say at the players. Maybe it
Well,
was
come
prior.
on, man. He has lots of things to say, Crudy. Don't you know? He's been totally and 100% exonerated by the memo. There, THEIR, was no collusion. And this is
Total vindication.
And I'm not going to be the word Nazi here, all right? And a lot of people screw up there. I understand those things. But once you realize you made the error, wouldn't you take it down and fix it?
Well, you're tracking me in a lot of different directions at once.
There's a lot of places to go.
If you're talking about taking down tweets, it makes me think of a guy like Paul Ryan, who tweeted out, some lady is getting $1.50 a week raise. She's going to spend it on paying off her
Disneyland. Oh, wait.
Costco.
Oh, Costco.
Cumulatively, over the course of the year, it might pay for her Costco membership.
Now, why would Paul Ryan put that tweet up and then take it down?
Perhaps he misused a there. There's no incorrect there, Dom.
There is no there.
That's the Nunez memo you're thinking of. See how you're mixing in a lot of different topics at once? We are the Devil's Advocates. We got Mandela Barnes, the other Mandela. He's coming down here soon. Going to talk about that Dodge Ram ad and also the Foxconn deal. So we'll start mixing it up, but come back with us. I want to talk about Jimmy Fallon and a little ode he did to Trump. More Devil's Advocates Super Bowl Monday edition.
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Son of a bitch.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years, assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classy and operated since 1966. Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Join the Resistance, WRRD, Resistance Radio. Tune in Monday through Friday beginning at 7 a.m. The Earl Ingram Show starts your day from 7 to 9. Then join Brian and Daryl for 414 Wisconsin from 9 to 11. You can hear the Tom Hartman program from 11 to 2. Then from 2 to 5, it's the Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Tune in to 1510 a.m. throughout the day. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies in the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And AG Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue. Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org. P4ppc.org.
Make a resolution, Milwaukee, to eat your fruits and vegetables. Go to the new Pete's Fruit Market on Martin Luther King and North Ave. Find the freshest fruit, always the perfect peach. Pete's Fruit Market is a brand new, modern, full-service grocery with an in-store butcher shop. Go see the manager, Vidal, for daily specials at the new Pete's Fruit Market on North Ave in MLK. Tell them that the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I don't like the word adjustment.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the
Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD, streaming live on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're also on Twitter at Devil Radio. Phone lines 844-967-2789.
And rest easy. The Dow is only down 900 points now.
All right. That
Could have been a
close
real
one.
bloodbath. Dom, I couldn't find the tweet I meant. I've read through a couple of the tweets from Trump earlier today. Thank you to @Fox and Friends for exposing the truth.
Thank you for doing my homework for me.
Perhaps that's why your ratings are so many O's much better than your untruthful competition. Here's another one. Little Adam Schiff, who is desperate to run for higher office, is one of the biggest liars and leakers in Washington. Right up there with Comey, Warner, Brennan, and Clapper.
Yeah.
Adam leaves closed committee hearings to illegally leak confidential information. Must be stopped, ! That's not about football. Here's another. Any deal on DACA that does not include a strong border security and desperately needed wall is total waste of time. March 5th is rapidly approaching in the Dems seem not to care about DACA. Make a deal, ! And here's one more, Dom. And this one's a little heartwarming. Representative Devin Nunes, a man of tremendous courage and grit, may someday be recognized as a great American hero for what he has exposed and what he has had to endure. No, I was wrong. I missed it. Many crazy random things he tweets about. but apparently not about standing up and not protesting at the Super Bowl.
Well, and also today, Trump was speaking to a manufacturing facility and referred to the Democrats, and I took it as most of the African-American Black Caucus sitting down when they didn't respond to his liking about his claims about black unemployment, said they were all un-American and treasonous.
Aren't they? Dom, Jimmy Fallon last night, he was pretty funny. Watched him immediately after the game. Your boy JT, he went on there. But here was Fallon. He played a special song, sort of a la Dylan. This one directed at Trump.
Come gather round, people, wherever you're on, and admit that our country don't feel like our home, and that silence speaks louder than those who condone.
At first I thought he was doing Dylan. Then I noticed.
Then lift up your voices and put down your phones, for the times they are a-changing.
Should have turned Trumpy in here on the next verse.
Come women and men who #MeToo, and believe me when I say that we believe you, for weak is the man who calls truth fake news. Time's up, our silence we're breaking, and even though Mel Gibson was in Daddy's home too, well, the times they are a-changing.
Daddy's home too, you probably didn't see that.
Some athletes with platforms throughout the land, who by taking a knee are taking a stand, and before you shout out that they should be banned, listen to what they are saying. Perhaps they'd stand up if you reached out your hand. Well, the times they are a-changing. Come journalists, writers who report the facts, and brandish your pen to fend off his attacks. Look past what he says and look at how he acts. The fire and fury is raging, for his words can hurt, but your words can fight back. New York Times, they aren't a-failing.
New York Times ain't failing. We ain't failing. We're the devil's advocates. We'll come back. Mandela Barnes, he's a lieutenant gubernatorial candidate right here in the great state of Wisconsin. We're going to talk about MLK's dream of owning a Ram pickup truck, and we'll talk Foxconn. Come back with us. Jimmy Fallon, take us all the way to break.
You have the power, but we have the vote. The times they are a-changing.
I don't like the word adjustment.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the People's Sheriff. I need you to keep listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Can I count on you?
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be Union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Everybody buckle up.
Mom.
Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom,
buckle
can we get
up.
some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Good afternoon. It is 4:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly with some headlines for you. Republican lawmakers in Madison are moving forward with plans to roll back protections for an estimated 1 million acres of wetlands in Wisconsin. Governor Walker's plan to put new limits on public assistance for the poor could cost taxpayers nearly $90 million per year, plus millions more in startup costs. New legislation circulating Madison would strip powers from the Milwaukee County Board and give more power to County Executive Chris Abele. And the jobs at Foxconn will cost Wisconsin taxpayers more than 8 times as much as similar job deals that were done in 2017, according to a Journal Sentinel analysis. It's currently 13 degrees in Milwaukee and 9 in Waukesha for 1510 AM. My name is Brian Kelly.
In the nighttime, trap with the chickens like Popeye. Money changing colors like tie-dye. I'm just trying to get
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we've been joined live in our Brady Studios by a fine lieutenant gubernatorial candidate. And welcome back.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. It's always a good time to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
I appreciate the invite.
Mandela, I don't know where you were watching the Super Bowl at, but you and I took objection to one of the ads at almost the identical time. I saw you posted on Facebook. What did you have to say about that MLK appropriated speech to sell some Dodge Rams?
Yeah, it was like one of those things that was kind of disgusting. If you look at the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and how he railed against capitalism, I mean, the guy has to be turning over in his grave as something like that taking place. And, you know, I guess we all should remember his famous "I have a Dodge" speech.
Well, let's play it for the people. Some, like Dom, have small bladders. They might have been sneaking off to the little girl's room. Let's play it.
What?
Fancy Brian, if you'd be so kind, cut 81, the "I have a Ram" speech. Cut 81.
If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. By giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know the theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace. Soul generated by love.
And perhaps a Hemi.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're going to let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia, you're going to need a heavy-duty vehicle.
Literally yesterday, the 50th anniversary of the speech given, February 4th, 1968, my understanding, by Martin Luther King Jr. What did you think about the cultural appropriation? Seemed a little inappropriate, but what do I know?
I mean, it's certainly inappropriate. I mean, any historical figure to be used in that way, it's just the commercialization. You dilute the entire legacy when you go that route.
What about Prince? I realize these are unrelated, but is it the fact that he's dead and cannot speak for himself? I mean, I suspect the King family, the estate, someone probably got paid for use of that speech.
Which is no better, which is actually worse than Dodge deciding that, hey, we want to use this excerpt to sell vehicles. It's bad on both ends, and just because a person controls the estate, I mean, that makes it even more egregious, in my opinion.
What about the style? I'm sorry,
No, you're
Miguel, I
fine.
don't mean to interrupt. The style of it. I mean, throughout, and listening to that speech, you didn't know what you were selling, just from the audio. So certainly the visual takes impact, and throughout the entirety of that ad, you see Dodge Rams in the ad. What if it was done a little differently? What if it was, you didn't see the Dodge or who it was from until the end, as in brought to you by?
Well, that's kind of how it was.
Yeah, that's still bad.
I thought it was a tremendous ad. I thought it was a powerful ad. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is a Dodge Ram truck ad. This is not a Black History Month ad. This is not some sort of acknowledgement so much as this is a blatant effort at commercialization and selling some pickup trucks.
Yeah, and that's certainly not what those words were intended for at the time when Dr. King spoke them. And his legacy shouldn't have anything to do with any sort of capitalism in this fashion.
Mandela, my understanding, in that very speech, he spoke out against advertising. He spoke out against the man that would sell a car with advertising, and the very speech is appropriated to sell
in
trucks.
In the same exact speech, but most people, I don't actually know who their target audience is with that either.
Because black guys, generally, I'm not trying to broad brush, but I don't see a lot of brothers driving around in Dodge pickup trucks.
You got some. You got a few. I know my friend Roy has one. Roy.
Roy's got one.
It's just Roy.
Don't call attention to Roy out there in the world.
Hey, Roy, you got some explaining to do.
Is it ever appropriate for a corporation, whether you want to call it using it for an ad or using their dollars to honor the man? Is it ever appropriate in a corporate setting, a commercial setting, do you think, Mandela, to use the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words?
I mean, I won't even say just him. Like any other person, you're using words that were to build a movement against what was going on, to combat injustice, to combat capitalism. Like if it was a JFK speech, it would still be highly inappropriate. If there were words that, any other, Desmond Tutu, any person in history that has been railing against injustice, to use it then to not only, there was no injustice pointed out in the Dodge commercial. Remember Pepsi tried to use Kylie Jenner and drinking a soda or giving a soda to a cop would stop all the madness. Well, at least they kind of acknowledged that things were wrong in society. Dodge isn't necessarily acknowledging that things are wrong in society. They're saying if you want to be a leader, if you want to be known and recognized, then you ought to get a Ram truck to make that happen.
Well, Chevy just won't do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. If you're driving a Chevy, apparently you're on the wrong side of history.
That might be true. Folks,
I drive a Chevy, man.
Come on, man.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. I think you got a Cadillac, right? Fancy car.
That's a General Motors car, yes.
It's General. It's UAW.
We got the other Mandela Barnes. He is a candidate for Wisconsin's lieutenant gubernatorial position. Anyways, half of watching the football game is watching the commercials, at least at this point. What about the loss of the Patriots? The fact that, Tom Brady and Donald Trump had become linked? Did it give you a little extra glee?
I could not be more happy. You know, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who have been one of the more socially conscious teams in the NFL in regards to protests, and you know they won. And I said, well, the midterm elections have started now, and I made sure to put a picture of Eagles fans, you know, standing in solidarity with those protesting, along with Colin Kaepernick, and other picture with Tom Brady and getting a pep talk from Donald Trump.
Well, I don't know that there weren't a few African Americans or people of color amongst the rioters, let's call them, in Philly last night, but I saw lots of video of white dudes breaking stuff. Yeah. I didn't see anybody getting shot, though.
I will, you know, and
completely different than like a Black Lives Matter movement march where there had been some cops arresting people.
The cops will be there. You know, if the victory party was sponsored by Black Lives Matter, you would have seen a different response from law enforcement. But instead, they were happy fans. You should see some of the colorful adjectives used to describe the people. They weren't even protesters. Like they were doing this because something good happened, which is the craziest part. Breaking windows, setting cars on fire. I mean, that's one hell of a way to celebrate. And one that does not usually turn out well for people of color.
I know some guys that celebrated in a similar fashion back in the day, but we won't go there.
Oh, you just jam that out there for people's consumption? Yeah. Let it hang like they don't know who you're talking about? Mandela, let me kind of move beyond the football if we could. Okay. Here in the state of Wisconsin, obviously, we've got some big corporate giveaways going on. And Foxconn, the headline on the Journal Sentinel today, Foxconn's going to get 8 times the per job incentive as is typical for Wisconsin. This isn't something that the governor polled the people. If he had polled the people, he would have known it wasn't a Hail Mary touchdown. It was a big loser, I think, electorally for him. It's certainly going to be a big loser for the people of the state of Wisconsin. 25 years to maybe break even. That's a hell of a rosy, shaky payback schedule. But then today we hear Kimberly Clark's going to close 2 plants, lay off 600 workers, and Scott Walker's proposing another Foxconn-style deal. Here's my question, Mandela. If the unemployment rate in the state of Wisconsin is so damn low, why are we paying so much money chasing jobs? Why don't we just let those people take jobs throughout the workforce? Because there's apparently lots of open jobs, like 80,000 a month if you believe Walker.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the Governor Scott Walker, is being played on behalf of the people of the entire state of Wisconsin. And, you know, with Kimberly Clark saying that they're going to leave, I would not be surprised if that was a ploy in order to get more incentives, even after the massive tax scam, to stay in the state. Because large corporations have identified Scott Walker as someone who's willing to give the entire house away. And for Kimberly Clark to now, or to have recently say that they were going to leave the state as a means to gain incentives from the governor would not be surprising.
But he would have to change state law to give out those incentives.
Do you think that is beyond our governor to change state law to give away money to large corporations? I don't think so.
But I don't think it's a sign of gullibility. I think it's a sign of sheer partisanship. Mandela, this is all about buying votes. This is all about what he thinks will turn the tables electorally, because he is a very unpopular governor, one of the least popular in the nation.
Well, that too, but I still also say that, you know, these large corporations have identified the governor as the person who is the most likely to give it all away.
Well, yeah, I mean, Scott Walker has shown himself to be able to be malleable on this. He will play ball. If you look at some of the donations that went to third-party groups, from the lead paint manufacturing to the mining interests, it came out that, oh, goodness, look, these organizations, they gave money to people supporting Scott Walker. Scott Walker ultimately benefited from those dollars, and all that's supposed to be hush-hush, because when you do it in that particular manner, you don't have to show that on a campaign finance report. And given the fact he's done it before, probably he's doing it again.
Yeah, most likely to fold like a wet napkin. Under these circumstances, you know, you paint a rosy deal that ultimately has very few net benefits for the people of this state. Yeah, Governor Walker's going to get it done for you.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. You're listening here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM. We got a fine guest. He's live in our Brady Street studios. He is a lieutenant gubernatorial candidate. Mandela Barnes, a friend of ours. Come back with us. We'll talk more Wisconsin politics with the other Mandela, our buddy.
Take off from the bird, keep let the birds fly. Why I try to take my prize, you a dead guy. Of course I gotta keep a watch out through my bird eye. No casket drop.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience, the only choice. Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5NINES.com.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel,
I don't have a lot of expertise,
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't even know my own website address.
Even some conservatives questioned his ability.
You can always say no to a request for an interview, and I kind of wish Mr. Schimmel had said no. I don't think he was ready for that.
Schimmel claims to be all about law and order.
You start with the default position that yes, you will enforce the laws.
Apparently, even if that means enforcing a 1960s-style ban on interracial marriage.
It might be distasteful to me, but I've got to stay consistent with that as the state's lawyer. It's not my job to pick and choose.
Wisconsin deserves a competent attorney general.
We've got to go.
Yes, Brad Schimmel, you do got to go. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
That guy is a scary son of a gun, and I hope people start paying attention and get him the heck out of there, because he's like a big fascist general that's controlling our state, and then our attorney general. Wow, that guy ought to be locked up himself. I mean, he makes the sheriff of Milwaukee look kind of saintly.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Krutz,
are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, WRRD. If you missed any of this fine program, folks, you can go to our website, DomInCrute.com, download some podcasts and interviews.
Dominic, we got our own little cult of personality going on here on Brady Street. A fine guest live in studio. He is Mandela Barnes, a Democrat. He's running for lieutenant governor, a former state rep, a friend of the Devils. We appreciate you sticking around. Mandela, I gotta ask you. We talked about this Kimberly Clark. Scott Walker now wants to change state law so he can give them a Foxconn deal, buy their business with a little corporate welfare. But here would be my question. As we talked about, if we've got this historically super duper low unemployment rate, why are we throwing billions of dollars after chasing jobs when we don't have the employees to fill the jobs? Then we got to throw more dollars at training employees, more dollars at Illinois to try and entice employees to come back here. If we can't fill the jobs we have now, and I would question whether or not that's true, why are we spending so much damn money? And one more little rant here. My understanding, Kimberly Clark's decision to close these plants are a direct result of the tax cuts for the rich, the tax plan, the Trump tax plan, the Paul Ryan tax plan, the trickle-down tax plan that they've jammed through. And I would point out, here in the state of Wisconsin, we tried this a couple years ago. Manufacturer agribusiness tax credit, effectively no taxes, 0.4%. for these manufacturing interests. Scott Walker, a couple years ago, claiming we were #1 in the Midwest, like 14th in the nation in manufacturing job growth. But then the real numbers come in 6 months later, and we find out we, in fact, lost jobs, like 3,776 jobs. We lost almost $400 million in wage from the segment. Mandela, here's my question, if there is one. If we know that if you incentivize a company, if you allow them to cash out their profit with little or no tax liability, all their incentive is to cut expense, and people are expense as far as corporations are concerned. Isn't this the natural reaction to the Republican tax plan? Why would we throw more money at them?
Yeah, so the governor has been giving tours of the state's vault for quite some time now. And, you know, who do you say no to? You know, at what point do you say no? And, you know, you talk about slippery slopes. And,
you say no to those that don't give you campaign contributions. That's who he says no to.
Well, that's the unfortunate part, because it does seem as if our democracy is up for sale at this moment. You know, the highest you helped me get in office, it has been shown that the governor will help you get a tax break, or just a package of incentives, or just money, just cash in the form of in the form of any sort of waiving of environmental regulations, waiving of, again, state taxes, or whatever the case may be. And it's very dangerous, because it creates a disadvantage for our small business community. And it's the reason why we're dead last in new business startups, because this is not an attractive place for people to begin to grow a business.
Should all the Fox, I'm cutting you short here, I apologize, my good friend. He would have us pee in a cup, those that are too poor, those that might need some sort of aid or safety from the government social safety net. Every Kimberly Clark employee got to go take a drug test. How about the Foxconn executives? Why such a disparate treatment for those that currently have jobs as opposed to those that, you know, might be on Medicaid?
Yeah, well, he's just playing to his base when it comes to that. There's nothing practical about it, because the state will spend more money trying to drug test these people than actually administering the program. So that is just, you know, one of the Scott Walker classics that the diehard fans will go crazy for. He's going to, you know, play it this time of year, going into November. He'll play it as long as he has to, but at some point that song gets old. The record will skip.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. That's Mandela Barnes. He's a Democratic candidate for the lieutenant governorship here in the state of Wisconsin. He joins us in studio. You mentioned a little bit about these safety net issues. I think Jim Steineke is his name, on Up Front with Mike Goucher over the weekend, talking about the Republicans' effort to do some, reform on the welfare state, Mandela. And one of the justifications that he puts out there is that, we have all these jobs and we have to encourage people to go, from the couch to the job. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what they're saying. But again, it seems like this contradiction. If we have all the jobs available, then and we need all these workers, and we're going to use that justification to, cut people's safety net, then why, on the other hand, are we going to go out and spend $4.5 billion to get 3,000 up to 13,000 jobs? Their argument about the state of our economic progress and jobs in the state of Wisconsin are totally opposed, depending on who's talking and what they're talking about.
So it's all a farce, and we should know by this point. This is the 8th year. We should know better than to expect logic. Coming from this governor, coming from this legislature. We know that, you can talk about a low unemployment number all you want, but the fact is, there are still so many jobless people across the state who've been pushed out of unemployment because of new requirements, or who no longer qualify for unemployment because they have been long-term, or their benefit has expired. So it is think twice. You can't take unfortunately we can't take the governor for his word with most things that he says.
Mandela, Speaker Paul Ryan tweeted out proudly about a lady getting a $1.50 tax cut per week, going to throw it at her Costco membership. $1.50 per week, that's not changing many people's lifestyles. These are the quote-unquote crumbs, according to Nancy Pelosi, that we, the peasants, are supposed to make do with. But my understanding, ExxonMobil is getting $5.9 billion in this new tax deal.
Yeah, I was waiting for the woman to pop up to say, "Dude, I was screwing with you when I said that." Because it sounds like a joke, like someone saying, "Yo, I'll get a Costco membership out of this tax plan."
Sarcastic,
a lot of
perhaps.
sarcasm, right? He tried to Sally Struthers us.
We have her
$1.50 a day.
We have her sound. Apparently, she was responding to a poll. She was trying to respond honestly. Honestly, I don't know what the hell these Republicans are doing. You better start electing some Dems.
Yeah.
Consider our friend a candidate for Lieutenant Governor, Mandela Barnes. He's a fine one. We appreciate you joining us here on Brady Buddy.
Always happy to be here.
Thanks, Mandela.
Hey, man,
folks,
thank you.
More Devil's Advocates. Hour 2 is next. More of us. You on the phones, perhaps. 844-967-2789.
Not what your country can do for you.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
The biggest fear that and I think a lot of our supporters have is the outside money.
Scott Walker.
Everything you always wanted in a governor and less.
Make a resolution, Milwaukee, to eat your fruits and vegetables. Go to the new Pete's Fruit Market on Martin Luther King and North Ave. Find the freshest fruit, always the perfect peach. Pete's Fruit Market is a brand new, modern, full-service grocery with an in-store butcher shop. Go see the manager, Vidal, for daily specials at the new Pete's Fruit Market on North Ave and MLK. Tell them that the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Hello, I'm State Wisconsin Fair Access. Key things you should know. Wisconsin requires a photo ID, and chances are you already have what you need to vote. A Wisconsin DMV issued driver's license. You can use this even if it's revoked or suspended. A Wisconsin DMV issued identification card. A military ID issued by the U.S. Uniformed Services, or a U.S. passport book or card. You can use these items even if they're expired, as long as the expiration date is after the most recent general election held on November 8, 2016. For more information about registering to vote, please visit myvote.wi.gov or call the Wisconsin Election Commission Help Desk at 608 261-2028. We won't be taken for granted.
This message was brought to you by WRRD 1510 AM.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
More huge market losses. Is there a new immigration bill? I'm Richard Johnson. It's been another anxiety-inducing day on Wall Street, or just a sign that the correction everyone was expecting is here. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has closed down 1,120 points, or 4 1/3%. The S&P lost 4%. The Nasdaq lost nearly 4%. Among those expecting this correction is global economist Rana Foroohar, who says it's the result of record good times.
Things may be shifting now. We finally got a little bit of wage inflation, but and there's a synchronized global recovery, we should say, too. Europe is up, Asia's up, so there's been a lot of good news. But we're coming to the end of that. In the next year or two, it's very possible that we could see the markets go down and growth start to slow as well.
At one time, the Dow was down about 1,500 points, but that was due to a lot of automatic trading programs. Earlier today, the White House made it clear the president is not interested in any immigration bill. That does not include money for the border wall. Most Democrats, like Virginia's Jerry Connolly, still oppose the wall.
I'm frankly reluctant to do that because I think the wall is a symbol of everything that's wrong with Trump's approach to immigration. But it's on the table now.
New Senate immigration proposal would protect the Dreamers and increase security spending, but not the wall. Is it treason not to applaud the president during the State of the Union address? Well, let's ask the president about the Democrats during his speech.
They were like death and un-American. Un-American. Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not? You know, can we call that treason? Why not? I mean, they certainly didn't seem to love our country very much.
President Trump speaking to factory workers outside Cincinnati today. Again, the Dow has closed down about 1,180 points.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
Google is going on a hiring spree and building some new facilities outside Silicon Valley.
Google says it will hire thousands nationwide this year, workers needed to fill new offices and data centers in 9 states. Google CEO Sundar Pichai wasn't specific about how many will be hired in specific locations, other than to say Colorado and Michigan will be among the first states to see new job opportunities. Pichai added that there will soon be 5 more new data centers in the U.S. before the end of the year. The company currently has 6 open data centers in states including Oklahoma, Iowa, and North Carolina. I'm Michael Toscano.
Stock in Wells Fargo dropped about 10% today on the Federal Reserve banning the bank from growing until it cleans up what the Fed calls widespread consumer abuses. Again, another huge loss on Wall Street today. The Dow down more than 1,100 points, or that's about 4.5%. The Nasdaq lost nearly 4%. I'm Rich.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. It is 3:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The jobs at Foxconn will cost Wisconsin taxpayers more than 8 times as much per job as similar job deals that were done last year, according to its Journal Sentinel analysis. The cost per job for the Taiwanese company would be more than $200,000, more than 3 times as much as the next costly deal. Economists and Democrats have criticized the Foxconn deal for its high cost. In addition to the $2.85 billion in cash that Foxconn will receive for creating 13,000 jobs, the company will not have to pay any corporate taxes or income taxes and will have $150 million in sales tax waived. Snow likely this afternoon. About an inch of accumulation possible. Highs in the mid-teens with wind chills between -10 and -20. Currently, we're up to 13 degrees here in Milwaukee and 10 in Waukesha. From 1510 a.m., my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Super Bowl Hangover Monday edition of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. I did not imbibe. I didn't need to drink.
Not at all? No cocktails?
It was enough that the Patriots lost.
Yes. I drank.
Celebratory enough. You know, we should be playing more pro-Eagles song.
Eagles, Life in the Fast, any Eagles song from here on out, yes.
That's all we want to hear from here to the end of the show. Because all I heard last week was Brady's the best. And we are never going to lose.
Did I play a bunch of Patriot songs? Did I play a bunch of Boston stuff?
Not on this show. I'd have been okay with some Boston. Dom, let's talk about the greatest numerical drop in Dow Jones history. I mean, today, 1,175.21. Biggest numerical drop, not percentage drop.
Correct.
But biggest numerical drop. Of course, the markets have never been more plump, inflated.
Inflated, yes.
Some might say there's a frothy exuberance going on with the evaluation of stock prices. But in the last 2 days, we're off, 1,800 points? Something approaching 10%. I think we're getting into correction range.
Yes, we are.
How's that the Democrats or Barack Obama's fault?
Oh, you know it's Barack Obama's fault. It's Jim Doyle's fault. And where are the tweets from the president saying, this is because of my tax reform bill? I didn't see any of those.
Dominic, here's a little interesting note from the Washington Post. You, our fair audience, may not be aware. I'm sure Dom's so bright he's quite aware of this number. The U.S. government, according to the Washington Post, Heather Long, the U.S. government is set to borrow nearly $1 trillion this year. Why, Dominic, that's an 84% jump in new debt from last year.
Well, of
Obama's
course.
last year.
That's what you're supposed to do in times of recession. Oh, wait, we're not in a recession. At least we weren't when the Republicans put forth their tax plan.
It was another crazy news week, so it's understandable if you missed a small but important announcement from the Treasury Department. The federal government is on track to borrow nearly $1 trillion this fiscal year, Trump's first full year in charge of the budget. That's almost double what the government borrowed in fiscal year 2017.
Fiscal conservatism.
Here are the exact figures. The U.S. Treasury expects to borrow $955 billion this fiscal year. According to a document released Wednesday, it's the highest number of borrowing in 6 years, and a big jump from the $519 billion the federal government borrowed last year when guys like Ron Johnson acted like it was the end of the world, Dom.
Oh, they were all concerned when it was Barack Obama's debt.
Treasury mainly attributed the increase to fiscal outlook. The Congressional Budget Office was more blunt. In a report this week, the CBO said tax receipts are going to be lower because of the new tax law. The uptick in borrowing is yet another complication in the heated debates in Congress over whether to spend more money on infrastructure, the military, disaster relief, and other domestic programs. The deficit is already up significantly even before Congress allots more money to any of these areas. We're addicted to debt, says Mark Goldwein, a senior policy director at the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. He blames both parties, but I blame mostly the Republicans, Dom. They're in charge.
Continuing on from Heather Long in the Washington Post. What's particularly jarring is this is the first time borrowing has jumped this much as a share of GDP in a non-recession time since Ronald Reagan was president, said Ernie Teschke, a former senior advisor to U.S. Treasury, who is now the head of fiscal analysis at Everscore ISI. Under Reagan, borrowing spiked because of a buildup in the military, something Trump is advocating again. Trump didn't mention the debt or the ongoing budget deficits in his State of the Union address. One of many things he didn't mention, Crudy. The absence of any mention of the national debt was frustrating to Goldwyn and others who warned that America has a major economic problem looming. It is terrible. Those deficits and the debt that keep rising is a serious problem, not only in the long run, but right now. Harvard economist Martin Feldstein, a former Reagan advisor, told Bloomberg. The White House got a taste of how problematic this debt situation could get this week. Investors are concerned about all the additional borrowing and the likelihood of higher inflation, which is why the interest rates on U.S. government bonds hit the highest level since 2014. That, in turn, partly drove the worst weekly sell-off in the stock market in 2 years.
That was before today, the biggest single-day numerical loss in the Dow Jones ever.
The belief in Washington and on Wall Street has long been that the U.S. government could just keep issuing debt because people around the world are eager to buy up the safe haven asset. But there may be a limit to how much the market wants, especially if inflation starts rising and investors prefer to ditch bonds for higher returning stocks. Some of my Wall Street clients are starting to talk recession in 2019 because of these issues. Fiscal policy is just out of control, said Peter Davis, a former tax economist in Congress who now runs Davis Capital Investment Ideas. The Federal Reserve was also buying a lot of U.S. Treasury debt since the crisis, helping to beef up demand. But the Fed recently decided to stop doing that now that the economy has improved. It's another wrinkle as Treasury has to look for new buyers.
Now, Dominic, our buddy, Speaker Paul Ryan, he got like a $500,000 kickback from the Koch brothers past that grandiose trickle-down taxonomic disaster that's heading down the pike, and you can see it playing out in the Dow Jones. But over the weekend, the very tone-deaf Paul Ryan made a little tweet and then deleted it. I'm going to read you from the Journal Sentinel's version. House Speaker Paul Ryan took a drubbing on social media Saturday after touting a Pennsylvania secretary who got a $1.50 a week raise. $1.50 a week, Dom! I mean, literally, there are candy bars you cannot buy for $1.50 now. As proof the GOP's tax bill is helping middle-class workers. Ryan of Janesville tweeted a link to the Associated Press stories on salaries following passage of the bill, adding, a secretary at a public high school in Lancaster, PA, said she was pleasantly surprised her pay went up $1.50 a week. She said that will cover her Costco membership for the year. The tweet was removed, but not before it set off a firestorm of criticism against Ryan, whose fundraising committee, Team Ryan, received $500,000 from billionaire businessman Charles Koch and his wife Elizabeth shortly after the bill passed in December. And it took no time for Ryan's Democratic challenger, Randy Bryce, to jump in. He tweeted that Ryan was out of touch and urged supporters to send him $150 to help us repeal and replace Ryan permanently this November. Spokespeople for Ryan and Bryce did not immediately respond to telephone calls and emails from the Journal Sentinel, but others joined the fray, and many referenced the Koch payments. Who else, Tom? Senator Brian Schatz. It's not just the folks on the bottom didn't get their fair share. It's that many barely got anything. They spent the borrowed $1.5 trillion, and regular people get free Twinkies or a couple of bucks. This is just a huge wealth transfer up, and people know it. Our friends over at One Wisconsin Now noted the deleted tweet. Paul Ryan deleted the below tweet after we responded with, "It will only take 4.5 years for her raise to cover a single one of Paul Ryan's $350 bottles of wine."
Ryan has
he likes
that
the fine wine.
That's right, man. Come on. Speaker of the House, Wisconsin roots. You learn to love the finer things in life.
Goes well with cheese.
The teacher's secretary, Julia Ketchum, was on CNN regarding this. We got a little sound from her. Let's hear it from Julia's mouth.
I responded to Sarah Sell's Twitter poll. Did you see a change, yes or no? And I said yes, and I answered 4 or 5 simple questions, and I answered them honestly. And when she asked what would I do with the extra money, that's the only thing I could think of was it would cover my Costco membership for the year, and I answered it honestly. And I really didn't expect, I didn't really expect it to go where it went.
Now, Nancy Pelosi called, the word she used last week is, these are crumbs.
Crumbs, yes.
$1,000 supposed tax cut for the average working stiff. When you divide it up by 365 weeks, or days in a year, is $3 a day, maybe $21 a week. I'm not great at math on the radio, Don, but it's something like that. To me, those are crumbs.
So you want me to...
I would rather have $3 additional than not have $3 additional. Sure,
but are you?
It's not a
lifestyle
lifestyle
of
changer.
The House who just. I mean, but this is how tone deaf the speaker is. Of course, he just saved the guys who gave him $500,000, like $1 billion, $1.5 billion, and he tweets out.
Come on, Exxon got $6 billion.
As evidence of this working. This is working. Paul Ryan $1.50 a week, and then has to take it down. Because what? Politically that doesn't swing? What changed your mind, Paul Ryan? I thought $1.50 a week was something you'd be proud of. I thought this is something that you would perhaps garner some more votes from people like Julia Ketchum at $1.50 a week.
Well, Dom, he couldn't handle the pressure the Twitterverse brought down upon him.
What a joke.
It's
an embarrassment.
Earlier today, Donald Trump, our POTUS, more yours than mine, was speaking, and he talked about Nancy Pelosi, San Francisco Nancy, her conversation about the crumbs he believes will ring with his supporters like deplorables did. I don't know if this is precisely the quote, but Trump in Cincinnati talking about Nancy Pelosi. I suspect this is about the tax cuts. Cut 83.
Nancy Pelosi, what she's doing to this country.
What?
And she's gone so far left. And Schumer's gone so far left. Oh, I look forward to running against them.
And they, I suspect, look forward to running against you, both in the midterms and if you're not impeached, sir, probably in the presidential in 2020.
Well, you can criticize, your political opponents, but since Republicans have been in power, what has Nancy Pelosi done to harm this country? What, not go along with everything you say?
Well, she said the average recipient of the tax cuts were getting crumbs, and that's very offensive to him. Hell, he was out there bragging. Nancy Pelosi, as far as Donald Trump's concerned, he's going to be she's the secret weapon. Can't wait to run a midterm campaign
against Nancy Pelosi.
And her statement that the people are getting crumbs. I mean, these are big, fat $1.50 at a crack.
Come on,
like $1.50.
The sound from Julia Ketchum. The only thing she could think of was her Costco membership. What else, is $50 a year? A Costco membership. She answered truthfully, apparently not thinking it would start any sort of a Twitter war. But our Speaker of the House, Wisconsin's own, Paul Ryan, is got to be one of the most tone-deaf politicians alive today.
Well, just this side of Donald Trump, perhaps.
Perhaps maybe a little less tone-deaf.
They merged their agendas.
He took his tweet down. Trump, he still has his there still up.
There is no there, Dom.
there.
Come back with us. The Dow, biggest single-day numerical drop in history. Dom wants me to make that distinction. I'm trying to be very clear with the metrics I use.
Thank you, Michael.
But it's kind of a big deal when it's off 1,700 in 2 days. That's almost 10%. And that's a result of your tax cuts for the very wealthy. Hell, they're cashing out, and you get stuck holding the bag. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates.
I like to think of Jesus like with giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the front row and I'm hammered drunk.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on, and he gets off and he makes a speech. But, he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates.
It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or LawtonCates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
He is Mark Thompson. He is the chair of the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
When the leader of the Senate acts like a king rather than an elected representative and won't even give a hard-working person a hearing before he asks for his head on a plate, that is being a bully. So this is not, this is just stating the facts. No fake news here.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
Back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates.
This eagle's place is in the sky.
John Ashcroft.
Still got a lot.
Let the eagle soar. Thanks, Fancy Brian. Must sting a little as a Patriots fan.
Listen, man, I'm letting you hang yourself with your own rope here, buddy.
Yes. You can join us on the phones if you choose 844-967-2789.
Wait. He gets play it.
When well, Ashcroft,
you guys have. I've got this on my party mix.
I've never heard this before.
Of a nation torn by war. Oh, she's far too young to die. You can see it in her eye. She's not yet begun to fly.
Fine
it's
voice.
Time to let the mighty eagle soar once more.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Dom, let's get back to the Trump zone.
Oh, God.
Let the eagle soar over the Patriots like they did last night. Let's get back to the Trump in Cincinnati. That's Bengals territory. We talked about the far left. Trump can't wait to run against Nancy Pelosi.
Whatever the hell that means.
And what about our depleted military, Dom? Under Obama, it was just a mess. Let's play it for the people. Trump, making stuff up. Cut 84.
We've got to get out there and win, or they're going to take, and I say it, a Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. They want to raise your taxes.
Just yours,
they don't
Trump.
want to give the money to the military, which we have to, because our military, because of Obama, and even beyond Obama, it's depleted.
From the never-ending wars we continuously fight?
Well, that would require us looking at our foreign policy over the last 5 or 6 decades and perhaps making some changes. And, of course, we can't do that.
Dom, I think I misspoke earlier. I thought that Trump tweeted out about the Super Bowl and, lack of any sort of kneeling or Black Lives Matter protest. But apparently I was just overhearing him speaking from the stage in Cincinnati. I believe it's cut 85.
Everybody stood up yesterday. There was nobody kneeling at the beginning of the Super Bowl. We've made a lot of improvement, haven't we? That's a big improvement.
Yeah, all because of you, Trump. It's
Do you know how
all
many
you.
Eagles players I've reportedly seen, at least a handful, that are not going to the White House to see Trump?
Here's the next cut from Trump. Of course, government shutting down perhaps this week, Rudy. Who knows? But in these hard and difficult times, it's always important to, reach across the aisle and find some commonality with your political rivals.
Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not?
Treasonous Dems.
Can we call that treason? Why not? I mean, they certainly didn't seem to love our country very much.
Because they didn't clap, stand up, and applaud everything that Donald Trump was saying during his State of the Union. Therefore, they must be treasonous. But as I said, the commonality, perhaps Trump is also treasonous.
John Ashcroft. When Alberto Gonzales, the terror memo guy, went to his bed to try and have the Iraq War reauthorized, you know who stood guard there?
Comey?
James Comey. Little sidelight. The Eagles soar! Come back with us, Devil's Advocates. We do nothing but soar like the mighty Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Juice, Mom. Juice, juice, juice.
Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom,
I want juice.
Mom, Mom.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
31? I mean, 13?
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. He realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm State Senator LaTanya Johnson. This year's primary will be held on February 20th, and the spring election is on April 3rd. We will not be taken for granted.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five9 comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five9 has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at five9s.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
I got to tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in 92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, a little bit of herb butter on there, you get magic.
I have one of my arteries right now.
Did you say you weighed?
New legislation circulating in Madison would strip powers from the Milwaukee County Board and give more power to County Executive Chris Abele. When the Bucks beat the Nets yesterday in that 109-94, they will go to New York to play the Knicks tomorrow night. Snow has just begun. It's going to stop around 10 p.m. Lows around 5 degrees tonight. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-teens. Currently, still 13 degrees in Milwaukee and 10 in Waukesha. Snow has started. For 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dom, I'm not sure what this song is.
Little Sammy Hagar, Where Eagles Fly.
Got to start rocking a little before I'm going to recognize it. Here we go. Welcome back to the big show. You can always join us on the phones, 844-967-2789. All Eagles fans and those that cheer against the Patriots, welcome here. Donald Trump in Cincinnati this afternoon. I never knew. Donald Trump bragged a little. You know, I used to work in Cincinnati. I'm thinking, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Donald Trump bragging about it. Well, we talked about the fact that, you know, there was no kneeling at the Super Bowl, and as far as Donald Trump's concerned, that's all that really matters, right?
Right.
But he went on to talk about the Dems. Did we get Cut 86? I think we did.
We did. They're all treasonous.
They're treasonous. Little reminder, right? It's not so long. We can't play it again. Fancy Brian, let's talk about the treasonous Dems, according to the president, Cut 86.
Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not? Yeah, you know. Can we call that treason? Why not? I mean, they certainly didn't seem to love our country very much.
Trying to undermine the meaning of that word, of course, because he may just be guilty of it. And if he's not, Fredo Jr. most certainly is.
Who the hell claps? What? Treasonous? Because
lock her up.
They did not stand and clap and salute you
They
during
don't-
your State of the Union?
They don't.
Are we treasonous, Curdy? Because what? We don't accept the things that he says as fact. We want to verify. We call him out and other politicians when they give us a line of BS. Is that treasonous? Or is that absolutely American?
Well, Dom, I'm sitting now, and people cannot differentiate the difference when you're standing or sitting.
I'm
so
taller than you.
We might be perceived as treasonous, sure. Cut 87, again, Trump in Cincinnati. You know, damn Dems, they don't care a damn. They don't give a damn about security. Cut 87.
The ones that don't want security at the southern border or any other border are the Democrats. They don't care about the security of our country.
One more, Trump 88, build that wall.
We have to stop drugs from pouring across our border. Oh, we're building the wall. Believe me, we're building the wall. Don't even think about it.
He's back to don't even think about it. Because we're not really building a wall.
And Mexico's not going to pay for it.
And I would say most of the most dangerous drugs are opioids.
Yeah, you can buy.
Or derivatives thereof, like fentanyl.
And right now, with the stock market down, you know what? Several percentage in the last few days. That pharmaceutical stock is probably pretty cheap right now.
You can invest in a domestic drug dealer.
I mean, and that is truly the American system.
Real quick, and then we'll get to the phones. 844-967-2789. Our friend Mark Pocan was on the Capital City Sunday, WKOW TV, and he's talking about Paul Ryan and passing a DACA fix. Here's what Pocan said. As long as the Tea Party still got the car keys, which unfortunately they were given when Paul became Speaker, we can't just do something as logical and as simple as put a DACA bill on the floor. Have a vote, get it done, and move on, Pocan said. Pocan said there are over 30-some House Republicans that support a DACA fix, which he said was enough support to pass. But leadership, including Paul Ryan, Pocan said, won't move it to the floor. Pocan also said that Ryan won't negotiate with Democrats on the budget because of his agreements with the Tea Party. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program was created by Barack Obama through executive action. We all know that part. Trump ended the program also through executive action. And Pocan said that because DACA, and here's a quote, wasn't a problem prior to the president breaking it, Trump should be able to use DACA as a bargaining chip to build a southern border wall. In late December, Trump tweeted there was no DACA deal that didn't include funding for such a wall. Host John Beard pointed out that this is a good opportunity for Republicans to negotiate for a wall, especially considering that Trump made the wall a major campaign promise. Pocan argued against what he called holding 800,000 people in the country hostage. The wall is illogical. It makes no sense. It's extremely expensive. There's a million reasons why the wall is a bad idea, Pocan said. Only after DACA has been fixed should Congress talk about a comprehensive immigration reform, Pocan said, and put it all on the table, including a wall.
Trump brought this upon us.
He meant to do
you
that.
can say, what? So he could specifically have it for a negotiating tactic right now?
Well, and not to mention his anti-immigrant sentiment in the State of the Union address. He thought it played quite well. They weren't dreamers. They're illegal aliens, Tom.
Hey, Americans are dreamers too. 844-967.
Especially the white ones.
844-967-2789. If you have a dream, you can give us a call like Mark from Prairie du Sac in Wisconsin. Hey, Matt, welcome back.
Hey, guys. How's it going today?
Good, man.
Another frustrating day in the neighborhood. That for the pay raise that Paul Ryan was talking about, the other discount we have to take there is we get raises this year, and we get taxed on those raises. So when they say $1,000, it isn't going to be $1,000. It's going to be subtract your income tax, subtract your payroll taxes from that. Then it's, the net of that is going to be whatever that is, because that money is not going to be treated like tax-free income there.
Right.
So it just as far as the whole treason thing just kind of blew me away for a minute there, then what would he describe as that the day Barack Obama was inaugurated as President of the United States back there in 2009?
Illegitimate?
I seem to...
That Kenyan-born foreigner?
I seem to remember the Caucus Room restaurant hosted a little confabulation of various Republicans who swore a blood oath to not allow him to accomplish anything. There, that knowing those guys, human sacrifice may have been involved. That
and certainly child slavery on Mars, Mark.
And Paul Ryan got to pick the wine.
It just staggers. It just makes me babble because these are the best and brightest. Paul Ryan, Devin Nunes. How did these guys pass 12th grade or 6th grade?
Well, before we turn to Devin Nunes, Mark, I want to point out, today in Cincinnati, Trump dragged a couple of poor schlubs up on the stage, gave them 30 seconds and said, tell me what you're going to do, because the company he was visiting apparently was granting $1,000 bonuses amongst the 4% of companies nationally, trying to suck some good, PR out of giving bonuses to their employees of like $1,000. So anyways, these people were going to see a cumulative benefit of nearly $2,000. And one lady was buying a house and the other guy just wanted to save for a family. And I'm thinking, good luck with that, man. You're going to have to save for years and years and years. You will not be fertile by the time you've saved enough. If any of us saved for children, nobody would have children. Not in this country.
No, this company is going to be still open in 6 months. The jobs want to be shipped to Mexico in the meantime. Because how many? What was Carrier's already given those people their pink slips for? And at the plant, he was going to save all their jobs. Those folks' jobs, are their jobs already down there in Mexico?
Yeah, a number of people. I think 6 of like 1,200 people lost the jobs. There was no preservation of jobs. And I would remind people here in the state of Wisconsin, Scott Walker wants to roll out Foxconn 2.0 to try and retain 600 Kimberly-Clark jobs. And while I've got nothing against trying to retain jobs, I do when you disproportionately pay for those jobs with taxpayer dollars, because I'm a business out here, and when I'm struggling, I don't get a government bailout.
Well put, Crudy.
Right? Yeah. Does anybody else's business get a bailout just because it's an election year? Or only, Republican donors and big manufacturing interests? I thought you already gave them a break. What about the 0.4% effective tax rate, be it Foxconn or Kimberly-Clark? If you can't make it a go with no state taxes, you need to get out of this business, whatever your business is.
Thanks for the call, Mark. I would answer your perhaps rhetorical question. Certainly, if the Democrats not standing and clapping during Donald Trump's State of the Union is to be considered treasonous behavior by this president, then how do you not say that the Republicans who met to try to plot and say they would never, ever do anything to work with President Barack Obama, well, that must also as well be treasonous. But like Crudy says, he's trying to dilute the word.
Hey, Devin Nunes, I don't know if you know, Don, but according to Donald Trump, I think I read the tweet before, Devin Nunes will go down in history as a great American hero. That's what Trump tweeted out today.
Yeah, just like Benedict Arnold. Everybody knows that guy's name.
Well, they'll all know Trump's name soon if they don't already. Here's what he tweeted specifically. Representative Devin Nunes, a man of tremendous courage and grit, may someday be recognized as the great American hero for what he has exposed and what he had to endure.
He's a douche. What can I say? 844-967.
No, are we talking about Nunes or Trump? For point of clarity.
For point of clarity, it is Trump. Trump is Il Duce, douche.
Let's go back to the phones.
Pizza Box Mike, happy Monday. What do you got for us today, my friend?
Cowardice twit. That's what Devin Nunes is, and all of them that are in his category. No, I'm happy, man. Happy as hell the endangered symbol of freedom won last night against the colonialists that are loyal to the crowd. Minutemen. Minutemen, that wouldn't last 30 seconds with me. Let's face it, they wouldn't even had a chance without that monster Gronkowski. I don't know when they changed his name, but that is like Son of Frankenstein. Goes in at halftime, they hooked him up to like battery cables or something and juiced him up. That guy is incredible, no matter what.
Man. And they came out, man, second half and ran down like a hot knife through butter and scored. And I was thinking, uh-oh.
But somebody might have deflated their balls at halftime, I'm just saying. Anyway, these guys have been lucky more than, 2 or 3 times. They shouldn't even been in one Super Bowl. And, yes, it is political at this point because Kraft, and his son, they like that Putin guy. In fact, remember, he went over there and met him and let him look at his Super Bowl ring and didn't get it back. And then Trump said, I'll get it for you. And Kraft made Trump like an honorary one that's got more diamonds and value to it than any other Super Bowl ring ever made. You know what I want to do? I'm going to go buy me 2 boxes of Kraft macaroni and cheese for father and son, and I'm going to pound them down.
Hey, Pizza Box, I know you had a press conference, not you, but a group that you're a part of. The Poor People's Party had a presser at the Capitol earlier today. What were you advocating for, Michael?
Trying to connect people to what it's like for the people that live in abject poverty in Wisconsin, anywhere. But in particular, this was our kickoff for the campaign in the state, and it's happening in all the other states as well. And by the time we're done with this, we're going to let the legislators know that, the issue starts with the people who live in poverty. They are not the reason why we have bad roads. They are not the reason why our water is at risk. We know who the problem is, and it's not the people that live in poverty. And they are not represented by either party very well. And so what we're trying to do is not have an argument, but make a connection with people. That, if you turn away from it, then you're probably, not going to get it. And we've said, we talk about it. It hurts to get in a battle like this. When you see people suffering beyond anything you could ever imagine, it should make you want to make a change. And I mean, we're basically human beings, and that's what our effort is. It's a humanitarian effort to continue what Martin Luther King Jr. started, and this time we're taking it all the way.
Michael, I've got to ask you. Michael gone?
No, you're still here.
Michael, I've got to ask you, in light of the Paul Ryan tweet about some lady getting $1.50 a week raise, if that's so instrumental in the life of a working person, don't they think a modest increase in the minimum wage might be instrumental to the numerous working poor that can't even afford rent predicated on a minimum wage salary here in the state of Wisconsin?
Well, I would think that, Paul Ryan using Social Security to get his education would have at least taken a course in Econ 101 to understand that the economy does not do well if the people that work the hardest don't get paid what they're worth.
Michael, you're my hero. Thanks for listening. We are the Devil's Advocates, hoping to be your heroes each and every afternoon. You get where I'm going with this? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air, Dom.
This is a song dedicated, a long-distance dedication from President Donald Trump to
Devin Nunes. The greatest American hero.
Oh,
he's a gritty one, that Nunes.
It's so bad. It's bad. These are trying times.
You treasonous dumb.
Yeah.
Come back with us. We are the treasonous Devil's Advocates, always telling the truth. Apparently that's offensive to some people.
You better stand.
We'd like to think we're more like American heroes in the mold of a Devin Nunes or a Pizza Box Mike. Come back with us. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Wouldn't it be nice if we actually got along, as an example, with Russia? I'm all for it.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
Man is douche and is now free to make love to himself instead.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. You have a patented process using empowered water. a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero-Res. Spell it backward or forward, it's the right way to clean.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
What do current WRRD sponsors, guys like Lenny Mattioli, Crazy TV Lenny, now Crazy E-Bike Lenny, have to say about advertising with Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio? WRRD 1510 AM, would you call us a great radio advertising source or the greatest radio advertising source ever, sir?
Okay, first of all, my emotional answer is the greatest.
Yes.
Now a realistic businessman answer, okay? I would say equal to or better than any talk show style radio station that I've ever advertised on. The return on invested advertising dollar is as good on your station as I've ever seen. Right now, it's the best.
Be like Lenny. Advertise with News Talk 1510 AM. Call me, 414-635-0872, or email me, crute@newstalk1510am.com. Make a resolution, Milwaukee, to eat your fruits and vegetables. Go to the new Pete's Fruit Market on Martin Luther King and North Ave. Find the freshest fruit, always the perfect peach. Pete's Fruit Market is a brand new, modern, full-service grocery with an in-store butcher shop. Go see the manager, Vidal, for daily specials at the new Pete's Fruit Market on North Ave and MLK. Tell them that the Devil's Advocate sent you. Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years, assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio, and we're on the phones, 844-967-2789.
All you treasonous Dems and deplorable Trump supporters, you're welcome here. Dom, I got a quick headline, and then we'll jump back to the phones. I think I figured it out. Donald Trump's diet. Maybe he knew something that the rest of us didn't know. There's a headline at the Business Insider. A chemical used to make McDonald's fries could help cure baldness. Japanese scientists say.
And maybe it won't make you crazy.
I might start eating more McDonald's.
No, you don't need to do that.
Do you think that affects Trump's thought process? I mean, we know he takes
Hey, be
Propecia.
careful what you say. Donald Trump might hear that and go stick his head in a fryer. 844-967-2789.
Worse things could happen.
Hey, Bob, you are up. Thank you for calling. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Bob.
Hey, guys. I just want to thank you for everything you're starting to help us with the Wisconsin Committee to Protect Pensions. I just got, the Dreamers thing. What's really sickening and sad is there's 10 million retirees in this country that had a dream, too. You work hard, you do what you're told to do, you don't ask for help, you don't ask for a handout, and you retire with dignity. And now this country is doing everything it can to make these people suffer, like taking your pensions away from your hard-earned saving dollars, retirement savings that they don't think you deserve. That is an injustice that is just wrong.
Now, Bob, we've had you on the show. You talked about the Butch Lewis proposed legislation. Hell, even Ron Johnson gets behind this because, as you mentioned, it's not a bailout per se. It's actually trying to buttress up a retirement type, which is pensions, or there could be massive failures. Bob, any new news on the Butch Lewis front?
Well, we're leaving tomorrow to go to Washington again. We're going to have over 100 people out there from 37 committees lobbying Washington again, hopefully to get this done by the 8th, which is coming up rapidly again. And it's just, it's a common sense, no bailout plan. And we don't understand why Paul Ryan is stonewalling us.
Now, Bob, have you considered
no bailout plan, and we've given him one?
Have you considered giving Paul Ryan, I don't know, like $500,000?
Cash or check? He takes either, sir.
To help promote this plan.
If I had it in my checking account and I could write it off, I think I'd consider that. But unfortunately, what my savings account amounts to, I don't think he'd even look at me.
That's a shame. Thank you for the call, Bob. We certainly do appreciate it. Good luck with your efforts going to Washington, D.C., trying to get this pension fiasco taken care of. Please keep us apprised.
Yeah, Bob and another retired Teamster, they were in studio not so long ago. They're advocating to buttress up this pension fund because, of course, these were not tax dollars. These were dollars deferred from their income
Deferred comp.
and stolen. Folks, we are the devil's advocates. We'll try not to steal your time. Little Joe Cocker going to break. The Eagles flying high. This one reminds me of an Officer and a Gentleman, Dom. And an Officer and a Gentleman always reminds me of Governor Scott Walker because after he loses, he's going to be crying like a you-know-what.
Why? Because he's
I got nowhere else to go. We are the devil's advocates. Come back with us. You know exactly where you need to go right here on 1510 AM.
I'm an Eagle Scout.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies in the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And A.G. Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamarupa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Special report, stock market plunge. I'm Rich Johnson. It's no shock to many who closely watch Wall Street. The markets are tumbling. Among them, Georgetown University finance professor Rina Agarwal.
What has surprised me is that it didn't happen sooner than Friday and Monday.
And it's taking place right now as the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost nearly 1,200 points, or more than 4.5% of its value. The NASDAQ and the Standard & Poor's each lost about 4%, worst S&P showing in 6 years. When stocks go down, bonds go up, and correspondent Claire Sebastian says that's definitely the case today, which inspires other worries.
10-year bond yields on U.S. Treasuries are up at 4-year highs right now, and that is leading some to be concerned that as we edge towards the 3% mark, that critical point, that people might start to move out of stocks and into bonds.
Again, the Dow dropped nearly 1,200 points, or 4.5%, on top of Friday's loss of 650 points. I'm Rich Johnson. The House Intelligence Committee is scheduled to meet this hour and vote on releasing the Democrats' rebuttal to the GOP-authored memo made public last week. Some Republicans, like Virginia's Tom Garrett Jr., are good with that.
I support releasing the Democrat memo with appropriate redaction to protect sources and methods, and the affidavit undergirding the FISA warrant, and I support getting to the bottom of the federal government being weaponized against the very citizens it was elected and appointed to serve.
Democrats say their document points out flaws and omissions of fact in the Republican memo, which accused the FBI and Justice Department of abusing its covert surveillance power. His tone was sort of joking, but President Trump still said that congressional Democrats were un-American and perhaps even treasonous because they didn't applaud him during his State of the Union address. Appearing at a factory outside Cincinnati, he also praised the new tax law, which he says will put more money into people's pockets. Again, huge losses on Wall Street. The Dow lost nearly 1,200 points. I'm Richard.
Hello, I'm State Senator LaTanya Johnson. Making sure Wisconsin residents continue to have equal and fair access to voting is very important to me. Here are some key things you should know. Wisconsin requires a photo ID, and chances are you already have what you need to vote. A Wisconsin DMV-issued driver's license. You can use this even if it's revoked or suspended. A Wisconsin DMV-issued identification card. A military ID issued by the U.S. Uniformed Services, or a U.S. passport book or card. You can use these items even if they're expired, as long as the expiration date is after the most recent general election held on November 8, 2016. For more information about registering to vote, please visit myvote.wi.gov or call the Wisconsin Election Commission Help Desk at 608-261-2028. We won't be taken for granted.
This message was brought to you by WRRD 1510 AM.
BIBLE.
Another American music legend is coming off the road.
Sounds of silence. His fans will have to get used to it. Only a few days after Elton John announced he'll retire from touring, Paul Simon took to social media to say his upcoming tour will be his last, citing the personal toll of touring and the death of his lead guitarist. Tickets for his Homeward Bound, the farewell tour, will go on sale February 8th. It kicks off in May in Vancouver, Canada, and takes him across North America and Europe. In a statement, Simon calls the decision a little unsettling, a touch exhilarating, and something of a relief. And an island never cries. I'm Scott Carr.
The Supreme Court's rejected an appeal by Republicans in Pennsylvania and told officials to redraw the Keystone State's congressional districts. Pennsylvania's Supreme Court ruled last month the current congressional map is unconstitutional. I'm Rich.
The Earl Ingram Show.
I am really honored to have in studio a young man, Mr. Marquise Garner. He's written a wonderful book, Have You Ever Wished You Were Someone Else? Carrying the Weight of Autism. Chapter 4, man, A Face in the Crowd.
Being in public school,
A lot of times you have like 35, 40 kids in the class, and I felt like another face of the crowd. Like I wasn't getting the individual attention that I needed when I was falling behind in my curriculum. I felt like I was on a political spectrum. Like not only was I diagnosed as being autistic, but being the first black, I was like, man, not only am I autistic, but I gotta like be a revolutionary for my people, being the first black in the special ed class.
The Earl Ingram Show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m., Saturdays, noon to 3 on WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Come on, man.
Good afternoon. It is 4:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The jobs at Foxconn will cost Wisconsin taxpayers more than 8 times as much per job as similar job deals that were done last year, according to a Journal Sentinel analysis. The cost per job for the Taiwanese company would be more than $200,000, more than 3 times as much as the next costly deal. Economists and Democrats have criticized the Foxconn deal for its high cost. In addition to the $2.85 billion in cash that Foxconn will receive for creating 13,000 jobs, the company will not have to pay any corporate taxes or income taxes and will have $150 million in sales tax waived. Snow has started tonight. It will last until about 10 p.m. Lows around 5 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-teens. Still holding on to 12 degrees in Milwaukee and 8 in Waukesha for 1510 a.m. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Super Bowl Monday edition of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we're sliding into the 4 o'clock happy hour. And I'd like to say I'm happy, but I have to disclose, you know that bastard Tom Brady didn't even shake Nick Foles' hands after the game last night?
The quarterback for the losing New England Patriots did not have the common courtesy to walk across the field and shake the hand of the winning quarterback,
the
from
victorious,
the Eagles.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of customary?
I would call it treasonous and unpatriotic on behalf of Tom Brady.
Now listen, I'm a fan. And if this is true, if it's true,
if it's true,
then it's crap.
I reported it. It is true.
Didn't you all stop?
It's on the
if
interweb.
This turns out to be true.
Well, Donald Trump, if you noted, Donald Trump did say what I said he said. He just didn't tweet it. I get confused whether it's spoken or just traveled about the interwebs. But precisely what I said Trump said, he said. He just did it verbally and not through the Twitterverse. So don't act like I'm often wrong. I'm 60% of the time. I'm right every time.
You were wrong.
I was more at playing the if it's true tag.
Yes.
You know who else does that? The Wankinator. Remember when he was defending Roy Moore? If it's true. You know, because there was that allegation about me having a love child in college.
So I totally understand, these allegations that may or may not be true.
But probably true.
Probably.
Governor Scott Walker, here's what he's saying today, Dom, or more accurately, tweeting, as his hero, the president, does. Scott Walker, give Kimberly Clark a Foxconn-style deal to keep the paper plants open. The Wankinator called Monday for giving papermaker Kimberly Clark Foxconn-sized job incentives. Was that about $200,000 per job, perhaps 8 times greater than any other company gets down? That sort of Foxconn-sized job incentives?
We're in the top 10 for giving away your tax dollars.
To avoid the closure of plants in Nita and Fox Crossing, as Democratic lawmakers were announcing their own Kimberly Clark plan, the GOP governor called for passing legislation to allow the state to give the paper company the same level of tax credits per job as Foxconn.
Now, they're also going to roll back any sort of environmental regulations they may have, because you know how well the PCB issue worked out in the Fox River.
Well, I would point out these aren't new jobs created, Dom. You're offering, what, 200,000 plus per job for jobs retained? I tell you what, you're all fired unless I get 200,000 per employee to retain you. I mean, what a terrorist act! And why would you?
We don't
why would you
negotiate
with terrorists? It was a big shift for Walker, who in the past called the Foxconn deal transformational, and says that sizable tax credits for that project would not lead. It's conjunctioned here. Wouldn't lead to the state offering more money to other companies, but of course it does, Dom. Because once you give it out to one, you got to give it out to everybody. More than 600 people are employed at the plants owned by Kimberly-Clark, the maker of Kleenex tissues. I've never been able to say that word properly. Kleenex. And Huggies diapers with deep roots in Wisconsin. Kimberly-Clark previously announced a plan to cut as many as 5,000 jobs and close or sell 10 plants globally. Now, didn't Scott Walker at that time say, well, those are decisions that were made at a corporate level, or was it Paul Ryan?
I do recall something like that.
And now suddenly we, the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin, have to, bail out their global failures? They're just readjusting, cutting expense so they can have a greater bottom line, so they can fully take advantage of the Republican trickle-down tax plan, right, Dom? I mean, they said it when they made the announcement.
The cut represents 12 to 13% of the company's workforce, and there could still be more job losses in Wisconsin, where Kimberly-Clark also has a plant in Marinette and a consumer products headquarters in Neenah. The Neenah factory makes nonwoven fabric products and will be shut down within the next 18 months, according to KC. The closure date has been determined yet for the Cold Spring plant, which makes Depend adult diapers.
Now, when Trump finds out, because I've heard rumors, maybe he needs those people making those adult diapers, Dan.
Walker sent out his tweet as Fox Valley Democrats separately called for help in keeping the Kimberly-Clark plants open by providing $60 million or 2% of what could be spent on Foxconn. Under the proposal, the state would provide $30 million each for 2 revolving loan programs, one to help mills invest in energy and water efficiency, and the other to help mills shift from making white paper products to brown ones. I understand marketplace dynamics. I know that industries change, but I also understand that if the state of Wisconsin can muster $3 billion for a Taiwanese company,
4.5,
it can spare 2% for one of its own. Outagamie County Executive Thomas Nelson said in a statement, yes, Curdy, not $3 billion, $4.5 billion. I continue. Foxconn Technology Group of Taiwan secured up to $3 billion in tax credits to open a flat screen plant in Racine County, and could cost as much as $10 billion to employ up to 13,000 people.
Each and every one of those, the lowest estimate on the cost and the highest estimate on jobs and investment, because of course we know it's $9 billion, and we know 13,000 might be a rosy estimate.
Foxconn could receive more than 8 times as much per job as similar 2017 deals. To provide those credits, lawmakers and Walker had to pass legislation last fall. The Foxconn legislation expanded existing state incentives known as enterprise zones, which require companies to demonstrate investments and job creation before getting state tax credits. Typically, an enterprise zone employer must first pay workers at least $30,000 a year to qualify. These credits phase out for salaries above $100,000. State taxpayers agreed to cover.
We did?
We did.
I don't remember agreeing to cover 17% of the salary of Foxconn or Kimberly-Clark employees, considering what's the average incentive? About 7%.
Walker proposed
2.5 times greater.
Yes, we're making Wisconsin great again. Walker proposed legislation Monday that would also allow Kimberly-Clark to receive 17 cents back for every $1 it pays in qualifying wages at the 2 plants. Here's what Walker said in a statement. Retaining outstanding Wisconsin companies like Kimberly-Clark is just as important as attracting new companies to our state, which is why I'm proposing we offer larger tax credits to ensure the company keeps those 600 jobs where they belong in Wisconsin. A spokesman for Walker had no immediate comment on why the governor had shifted his position flip-flop
election year
on offering other companies the same level of incentives as Foxconn. As manufacturers in Wisconsin, both Foxconn and Kimberly-Clark pay little to no corporate and personal income tax on profit from those operations. That means that any potential enterprise zone credits could end up being paid to each company in cash if it has little tax liability. Crudy, good work if you can get it.
How does that work, man? I have to pay state taxes as a small business. We pay taxes. We pay payroll taxes. If I'm struggling, do I get a bailout from the government? And do I get make it a 0.4% tax credit? Between the two, Dom, why are you paying me to hire people, or let me clarify, retain employees if I can't make a go with a 0%, 0.4% tax rate? I mean, if I can't make a go in corporate America, that means you shutter the plant, right?
Yeah.
That's creative destruction. That's what Ron Johnson would call it. What about letting the market forces play out? Why is it we're picking winners and losers here?
Come on.
I mean, really, if you've got welfare recipients, and I hate to even use that word, but you've got, food stamp recipients, you got Medicaid people who are supposed to pee in a cup. They got to get up off their dead asses and work, according to this governor, because the disabled, they're lounging about taking advantage of the taxpayers.
Not only the disabled, but don't forget the elderly and, of course, the very young.
Well, what did Mitt Romney call the 47%, the takers, right? Those that don't currently pay taxes. Scott Walker's trying to buy votes, $100 tax credit for breeders, for parents. I got no problem. I got 3 kids, but only if you make enough money. So you can't get a tax credit if you're broke. If you're a poor person in the state of Wisconsin, if you don't pay taxes, you don't get no $100 credit. But this corporation that effectively pays no taxes in the state of Wisconsin, they get to cash out 17 cents on the dollar to retain employees? I mean, really, I want that freaking deal right now.
Why?
You're all fired unless I get 17% of all your wage back from the state.
Where is the Department of Workforce Development in there saying, all right, great, we have now 600 presumably well-trained employees that can now go out and fill all these other jobs that they want to spend millions of dollars recruiting other companies or other employees, other citizens to come to Wisconsin to fill those jobs.
Apparently, Foxconn's not going to use paper towels. But the gubernator promised us a supply chain, right? It's supposed to be all around. It's supposed to prop us up. That's how it all makes sense. Don't look at the real math. Just look at the presumptive math, the rosy math, the made-up math. It'll be the supply chain that'll prop us up and bail us out. And it won't be fibs working at those jobs. No Bears fans here. Nothing but good Wisconsinites. But then why do we keep giving incentives? If we can't fill the jobs we have now, why are we giving $200 and something thousand per job to Foxconn? We're trying to match the deal for Kimberly-Clark. They're not even creating new jobs. They're just retaining jobs. Could it be the man knows he is in the battle of his life for re-election, that he is probably going to lose? He is one of the least popular governors in the entire United States. And on top of all that, he's probably a treasonous, unpatriotic Patriots fan.
Oh, come on. You know he was standing up and clapping during the president's State of the Union address, unlike all those Democrats.
Folks, we are the devil's advocates. Always a little treasonous around here. Come back with us. Join us on the phones. Your calls welcome. We're going to do a little wanker bashing here in the happy hour. 844-967-2789.
If this factory goes under, the whole town goes under.
And that's when the whores come in.
Our economy's on fire.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean. Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio and on the phones 844-967-2789.
And be careful out there in the fast lane. It's snowy and slick in Milwaukee. At least it's snowing on Brady Street. You're listening to News Talk 1510 AM, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio. And before we do more Walker bashing, let's get back to the phones. Who's up, Don?
Ignacio, happy Monday, my friend. What do you got for us today?
Hey, gentlemen, two things I'd like to talk about. One, the stock market, and two, DACA, with the way the president spelled it out. Let's stay over the stock market first. You know, the president's been all, look, since I've been like the president, the stock market's going up, going up. He's all excited. It's down 1,175 points. I haven't heard nothing from the White House yet going, yeah, I'm responsible for that.
Ignacio, it may encourage you to know that the Trump speech in Cincinnati was going out live. All the networks, including Fox News, broke away to follow the tanking of the Dow Jones down over 1,500 points at one point. Nacho, even the Fox News junkies had to watch what Trump is rotting upon Wall Street and perhaps Main Street soon.
Oh, yeah. Now, let's talk about DACA. The president said, we want a road to citizenship. It'll take 12 years for them to get their citizenship. Oh, stop. Hold on a minute. These guys have been here since they're 2 or 4 years old. Why does it take 12 years to get citizenship? Why? What? They've lived here for maybe, let's say they came when they were 4. Maybe they're 14 years of going to school, doing good, not getting in any trouble, good record, good upstanding lifestyle. They no trouble. Why do they have to take 12 years to become a citizen? Really? Come on.
Ignacio, if good behavior was a pre-qualifier, I suspect we'd all be Mexicans.
No. I really wonder how come he hates the Latinos so much. I bet you
racism.
Some Latino guy took out. No. It's personal. It's personal. I think some Latino guy, some Latin lover, took either a wife or a girlfriend from him, because there's no way a man can be that personal about somebody or some race of people unless it hit home. You know what I'm talking about? It just seems too personal to him. He always talks about El Salvadorians, they're like the rapists and what. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's crazy.
He doesn't like the pigmentation, Nacho. He doesn't like the color of your skin. You're a little too pigmented. Maybe it's just envy. I mean, the man bathes himself in orange dye.
Right.
You don't think that's because he's a little self-loathing?
Who, Trump? Yeah. Maybe just a little. Let's get one more caller in before the break. Jefferson from Milwaukee, you're up. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us today, Jefferson?
Whoa, turn the radio down.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
All right, wonderful. I attended your Roman coin celebration of 1 year the other day. It was so inspiring, and I think your shows and your radio shows are fantastic. I always learn a lot I didn't know.
Thank you. Really appreciate that, man.
Hey, one more thing you should learn, Jefferson. Turn down your radio when you call, buddy. We'll give you a second. Do it now, quickly.
Okay, it's down. It's off.
All right,
can you
man.
hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. You got like a minute. What are you thinking?
Well, a minute doesn't cover it, but they were talking about the Teamsters who are hurting, and I still don't have the whole story about that, but as I recall it, and they're talking about how the tip of the rainbow tip of the iceberg was when Reagan stopped the air controllers, and as I recall distinctly, because I'm an older person, the Teamsters went on Reagan's side and didn't support their union brothers, and that's the union of Hoffa. When did they become heroes? That's what I need to know.
Well, it's a good.
And if their pensions are being stolen, there's a lot of ways to deal with it. You'd imagine that they would have found a way to deal with it by now because they're the Teamsters. They don't have a good reputation in my book, and I must be wrong about it. Where am I wrong?
Well, I would say the Teamsters did have a bad reputation until the 1980s. Then they made a settlement with the federal government. They've been under tremendous scrutiny since then. And I would say, ultimately, if this is deferred compensation, if this is money they took out of their paychecks and put towards a future pension, they're entitled to it. The possible solution is the Butch-Lewis legislation. Paul Ryan's never going to sign off on that. I hate to be a negative Nelly, but, I am. Come back with us.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Don't even think about it.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within.
Oh.
B. Find the positives.
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C. Show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Well, you are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Milwaukee, Waukesha. Ooh, I just felt a trickle down.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience, the only choice. Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates, 282-6200, 282-6200.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. It is 4:32 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The city of New Berlin is one step closer to their plan of having a major park and trail system in their city center. New Berlin was recently awarded a 5-star and Urban Waters grant that it will use to develop a public trail and gathering place park in the city's most urban neighborhood, surrounding this intersection of Moreland Road and National Avenue. The idea of a park in the city center dates back over 20 years. Funding for the grant is provided by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the U.S. Forest Service, FedEx, and the Southern Company. Tonight it's snowing right now. Snow ending about 10 p.m. Lows around 5 degrees. Tomorrow mostly sunny. Highs in the mid-teens. Right now it's dropped to about 11 degrees in Milwaukee and 8 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The Devil's Advocates may not agree on much, but funny is funny.
And you don't remember who you're talking to. Concentration.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. If you can't be with the ones you love,
love the one you're with. I love you, man.
I love you too, man. Dom, want to get back to Foxconn. This story gets worse and worse every day. I'd like to throw out a little editorial from the Chicago Sun-Times.
What?
Our Flatlander friends to the south. But apparently they've got a vested interest in what? Clean water? Don't we all? as they write the editorial board, maybe it's time to run up on one of those marine warning flags on behalf of Lake Michigan. An effort to speed construction of a Foxconn complex in Wisconsin is opening a dangerous crack in an important 8-state law designed to protect Lake Michigan and other Great Lakes. Officials in other in other states, beginning in Illinois, should do all they can to ensure the Foxconn project doesn't weaken the 2008 law, which is called the Great Lakes Compact. Without a strong law, more hazardous pollutants could find their way into the lakes. More water could be diverted out of the lakes, and the lakes' futures could be imperiled. Foxconn, to be based near Racine, wants to draw 7 million gallons of water a day out of Lake Michigan as part of its plan to manufacture liquid crystal display panels and eventually add fabrication and glass manufacturing. About 60% of the water would be returned as wastewater, but the rest would be lost. The Taiwan company says the complex would employ as many as 13,000 people. If done right, the project could greatly benefit the region. Unfortunately, Wisconsin wants to rush the regulatory process. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources says it will decide on a permit for Foxconn in about 90 days. Environmentalists say that's simply not enough time to consider a host of complicated issues. Wisconsin, for its own sake and as a good neighbor, should slow down. We are not a good neighbor now that Scott Walker's in charge, unless you're talking about Iowa Christian conservatives that don't want $250 million to go towards the Bucks arena. You know, they don't like gambling, so screw the Menominee Casino. That's the only other states we care about, future presidential states, right, Scott Walker? Dom, you better take over. I get all pissy.
Again, an editorial from the Chicago Sun-Times. What makes the Foxconn plan unusual is that part of the site is outside the Great Lakes drainage basin, which means it normally wouldn't be allowed to use lake water. The Great Lakes Compact is designed to keep lake water in the basin so the lakes aren't slowly drained away by increasingly thirsty users outside the area. The compact does include careful exceptions for so-called straddling communities like Mount Pleasant, where Foxconn will be located, that are partly inside the Great Lakes Basin and partly out of it. The exceptions, which are intended for public water supplies, include strict rules to prevent pollution from entering the lake and a requirement that as much water as possible be returned to the lakes to minimize the effects of new diversions.
Will that water be polluted in some way, though, Dom?
I don't know what's in the water, Curdy. Maybe we'll get back to that. Maybe they'll address it. Continue. Last year, for example, the governors of all 8 states approved a diversion for Waukesha, which is in a straddling Wisconsin county, after a lengthy and thorough review process. But the Foxconn plan is doing an end run around the water compact. Mount Pleasant has not been asked to supply water for the complex. Instead, the water would be piped in from Racine, which is entirely in the basin. That means other states won't have a say in the approval process, and the longer review process won't be required. It's a scheme that environmentalists never envisioned when the 8-state water compact was drawn up.
Just give it to Scott Walker. He's a hell of a schemer, Dom.
Here's the heart of the threat. By avoiding getting its water from so-called straddling community, in the case Mount Pleasant, Foxconn can avoid the strict environmental provisions that would be required, according to Jody Habush-Sinkin, a lawyer for Midwest Environmental Advocates. And that's got environmentalists worried that Foxconn could dump water into Lake Michigan that is tainted by dangerous levels of nickel, zinc, iron, and other pollutants, perhaps even mercury.
That's all good for you, Dom.
In a move that worries environmentalists,
makes you strong.
Already has waived some environmental rules for Foxconn, and although the U.S. EPA also has authority to review such projects under the Clean Water Act, the Trump administration is pushing the agency in an anti-regulatory direction. All of us, not just professional environmentalists, have reason to be nervous. The concern is that Wisconsin has gone about this in a way that prioritizes getting this built, said Joel Bramier, president and CEO of the Alliance for the Great Lakes. You don't have to cut down basic protections to get development to happen. We must maintain strong protections against hazardous pollutants entering the lakes, and the early signs from Wisconsin are not encouraging. Foxconn has said it would pre-treat wastewater, but has not spelled out what that means. It also has not made clear which pollutants will be discharged from its plant. Environmentalists have little information upon which to offer statements during the public comment period, and the 90-day clock is ticking. The Great Lakes appear vast, but they are vulnerable, and the stakes are high. More than 40 million people in the United States and Canada depend on the lakes for drinking water, and 1.5 million jobs are tied directly to the lakes. The legal precedent that Wisconsin sets with Foxconn must be one that protects water quality and ensures that an ever-increasing number of users aren't sticking straws into Lake Michigan. If not, similar proposals are sure to emerge all around the Great Lakes, and the water compact will be undermined. Lake Michigan and the other Great Lakes are our gems. Wisconsin must do its part always to protect them.
Wisconsin would do its part. Scott Walker, on the other hand, has got entirely different ideas, and I think I know what Foxconn intends to use to clean the water. Tide Pods.
Nickel, zinc, iron, other pollutants, and perhaps mercury. And how the hell can you have a 90-day public notice when we don't know what the discharge water contains?
Because they don't care if you object, Dom. This is being fast-tracked because the governor has a re-election bid this year, and he needs to claim a victory. And hell, he doesn't want the bad news at Kimberly-Clark either, so you better start giving them 17 cents on the dollar to retain employees. Suddenly we're given the same deal, which was a bad deal when we were buying jobs, but now we're given the same bad deal to retain jobs. Hell, Kimberly-Clark, you just pour stuff in the dead zone in Green Bay like you perhaps have been doing for years.
Hell, Scott Walker keeps it up like this, he's going to be paying people to fire people. It's kind of like the opposite of his Kohl's sweater.
Tonette pulls out the Kohl's cash, and I just got to fire some people. Dom, here's another troubling headline. Lee Berquist, Journal Sentinel. GOP lawmakers, that means Wisconsin Republicans, want to weaken regulation of Wisconsin wetlands, because of course they do.
Because we're bad neighbors.
Republican lawmakers are pressing ahead with plans to roll back protections of an estimated 1 million acres of wetlands in Wisconsin, sparking the latest battle between business and conservation interest in the rest of us, right? Environmentalists say a bill that cleared an assembly committee last week will imperil water resources, harm wildlife, and spawn more flooding. Republicans say we're open for business. I'll read on from Berquist's piece. Supporters say the measure includes safeguards, like the double safeguard that the Army Corps of Engineers offers behind the Foxconn.
Oh, yeah.
If we roll back the DNR, environmental impact,
yeah, don't worry about it. The feds are always there.
Second line of non-defense.
Nope, not going to happen.
Why aren't we building that wall? Supporters say the measure includes safeguards and gives tools for the property development industry. I think they have tools, Dom. It's called a lot of money. New tools for the property development industry that will help spur more home building and business expansion.
Yeah, build up on those wetlands.
At issue are landscapes, often called isolated wetlands, which fall under state authority and operate under a regulatory system managed by the DNR that first seeks to avoid any impact. They include potholes, woodland depressions, shallow marshes, and meadows that may only be wet from rain or snowmelt part of the year and are not connected to a navigable body of water. They pepper the state, but are especially dense in the thick band that runs from southeast to northwest. Wetlands have had legal protections for years because of their ecological importance. This was underscored in a study published on January 29th in the Journal of Natural Geoscience by scientists at the University of Minnesota who analyzed wetland impacts, including isolated wetlands on the Minnesota River, a 17,000 square mile drainage basin. As one example, the researchers found in a 4-year period that wetlands during high stream flows were 5 times better. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. 5 times better at reducing nitrates in waterways than conservation practices on the same amount of land. Nitrates come from sources like fertilizer, the type often spewed by the governor, and can harm drinking water supplies and spur the growth of algae. In all, there are more than 5 million acres of wetlands in Wisconsin, with most of the acreage regulated by the federal government through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Wisconsin is one of only a few states that regulate isolated wetlands. In a bipartisan vote back in 2001, Dom, Wisconsin became the first state to regulate the parcels after a ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court. The High Court said federal clean waters laws did not give the Corps the authority over wetlands and did not connect to a stream or river. That raised concerns in Wisconsin that isolated wetlands would lose protections, prompting a broad coalition to push the state to take an oversight. However, with nearly 2 decades of experience, Wisconsin law needs an overhaul, according to Republicans.
Of course they do. Crudy, on Thursday, the Assembly Committee on Regulatory Licensing Reform approved the wetlands bill on a party line vote, and Speaker Robin Vos said the legislation is expected to pass his House this month. Senate leaders declined to comment on their plans for legislation, but business interests have been pushing for looser wetland regulations for years and have framed the issue as an effort to remove barriers and allow more development of land that now must usually be avoided.
So say that again, because that was a little confusing.
Business interests have been pushing for looser wetlands regulations for years and have framed the issue as an effort to remove barriers and allow more development of land that now must usually be avoided.
And after that, keep reading, buddy.
At a legislative hearing in December, developers, home builders, and business owners described situations where small wetlands have forced them to limit their use of their land. Here we go. Rep. Jim Steineke from Kokona. We have all heard these stories from job creators and homeowners, he said. At the hearing, Howard Kramer, a president of WOW Logistics, an Appleton area company that has erected buildings across the state, likened the current law to pushing on a balloon because it forces companies to avoid small wetlands and look elsewhere rather than getting embroiled in a bureaucratic process and trying to build there. Such decisions can push development farther out of a community and exacerbate sprawl, he said. What we do is build that new industrial park right in the middle of someone's farmland, and they pay the money so we don't have to deal with the DNR and we don't have to deal with the regulatory burden, he said.
Oh, well.
Right?
So you don't build in the wetlands. Oh, well.
Oh, that causes sprawl, Crudy. Sprawl's bad, I guess. Tell that to all the people in Waukesha and New Berlin. I continue. In October, when the legislation was introduced, the measure took away DNR authority to assess the ecological impact of isolated wetlands before they could be filled and land developed.
No homework, no research. Just do it. We're open for business.
That's what we do. We take away their authority. It's deregulation. The measure was roundly attacked by environmentalists and sporting groups, and last week Republicans limited the scope of the bill and tailored looser restrictions for wetlands in urban areas where development pressure is growing and creating hardships for those who want to commercialize land. All those poor commercial developers. Go ahead, Crudy, take it from me.
One change would exempt 1 acre of less of wetlands in areas defined as urban if rare or high-quality wetlands aren't impacted. For each project, the land would not have to be mitigated, meaning wetlands would not have to be created elsewhere. You destroy the wetlands.
And you're good to go.
And you're good to go. What a great deal. I can't imagine why a bipartisan panel voted in 2001 to protect Wisconsin's, once upon a time, constitutionally protected waters. We have a doctrine in the state of Wisconsin. These are supposed to be constitutionally protected. So between the scheming on the Foxconn so you can draw water out of the, Lake Michigan Basin, even though Foxconn won't be located there. You got the Attorney General of the state of Wisconsin appealing a court decision because the court said you must consider the cumulative effect of sticking straws in the aquifer, high-capacity wells. Well, that won't do. We got rich donors that want to take as much water without any consequence or any consideration of how the draining down of the wetlands and the waterways might actually impact other consumers. And, of course, we got this. We got Republicans hell-bent on rolling back protections of isolated wetlands. But taken cumulatively, Dom, I think Republicans hate water. Or at least this is a state predicated. Perhaps not evil witch style, although that's an interesting insight.
Well, here's the thought, Crudy. If you approve all the high capacity wells forever and never have to go back on them, you don't have to take into consideration any impact that those high capacity wells will have. Well, perhaps we'll dry up all the isolated wetlands, and you solve two problems with one action. Suck it so dry that there's no more wetlands, and then the developers can build whatever they want. But who's going to live there when there's no water to drink?
Well, as long as you can get cheap labor. Someone better be living here. Someone's got to pay for Foxconn for the next 25 years so they can pollute the waterways.
My ass. And again, Foxconn not telling us, we don't know what will be in the water that they discharge. What will their
Tide Pods. I'm telling you, Tide Pods.
What will the scrubbing operation look like? What will be taken out of that water? What can be taken out of that water?
It'll be just like beautiful, clean coal, Dom.
I think they should take the water coming out of Foxconn and ship it right to Waukesha.
That would be a win-win. I'm sure all the Republicans in Waukesha County, they would appreciate the diversion.
You don't need any. They don't even need to clean it. Just ship it directly.
At least Waukesha had to go through the 8-state, Lakes Compact?
Yeah.
At least they went through the process. I got no big issues with the resolution in Waukesha. I got big issues when Scott Walker helps big corporate interests bypass our constitutional protections on the waterways, open for business and pollution. And, water skiing, that's what you used to do when you were a kid. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open to you. 844-967-2789.
I love being governor.
Like a good neighbor.
Wisconsin's doing terribly.
They'd like to take me out for a lot of reasons far bigger than just this election.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Hello, I'm State Senator LaTanya Johnson. Making sure Wisconsin residents continue to have equal and fair access to voting is very important to me. Here are some key things you should know. Wisconsin requires a photo ID, and chances are you already have what you need to vote. A Wisconsin DMV issued driver's license. You can use this even if it's revoked or suspended. A Wisconsin DMV issued identification card. A military ID issued by the U.S. Uniformed Services, or a U.S. passport book or card. You can use these items even if they're expired, as long as the expiration date is after the most recent general election held on November 8, 2016. For more information about registering to vote, please visit myvote.wi.gov or call the Wisconsin Election Commission Help Desk at 608-261-2028. We won't be taken for granted.
This message was brought to you by WRRD 1510 AM. We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. Educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people. for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P for PPC.org, P, the number 4, PPC.org.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
He is Mark Thompson. He is the chair of the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
When the leader of the Senate acts like a king rather than an elected representative and won't even give a hard-working person a hearing before he asks for his head on a plate, that is being a bully. So this is not, this is just stating the facts. No fake news here.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m., Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looks so good.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines open 866-844-967-2789.
I was looking at the snow falling on Brady Street. There goes a cop car. I couldn't even see through its side windows. Be careful out there. And someone gave us a phone call before from Milwaukee. We got a working man. I think he wants to respond. It's our buddy, Tom Alonzi from Teamsters 200. Tom, do you take some issue with Jefferson's can't trust a Teamster assessment?
I do, Crudy. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can, Tom.
Okay, guys, happy belated anniversary to you.
Thank you again.
1 year. That's wonderful.
I got to tell you gave us the most generous gift, I think, Tom. We haven't cracked the seal yet, but we intend to.
Beautiful. Well, enjoy. Yeah, I thank you for giving me the time. I do take exception to that. A couple of those comments. Number one, the Teamsters did support Ronald Reagan for president, but did not support the replacement of the air traffic controllers, albeit that industry, along with the railroad industry, had different guidelines for strikes, as either one of those industries could shut down the commerce, the potential of shutting down the commerce of the entire country, and the president cannot allow that to happen. So, albeit I don't agree with the replacement of the workers, and I don't know who made the decision for that union to do that, I can question the decision.
And, Tom, that did happen in the 1980s. This is 2018 last time I checked. You guys have moved beyond Reagan, haven't you? Apparently Jefferson hasn't, but you have, haven't you, Tom?
Yes, we have. Thank you.
Hey, Tom, we got to get back
guys,
to it. Get to
ahead.
break.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, good buddy. Appreciate you listening. Our good friend Tom Alonzi, he's a fine sponsor. Teamsters 200. They are the good guys, at least in 2018 terms, because they support this fine radio station, WRD 1510 AM, and we don't have to turn it off yet. Dom, bonus coverage all February long. We're going extra overtime. That's what the Patriots were hoping for. But you get your wish, unlike Fancy Brian in there. He's an unpatriotic, treasonous sort. And we're the Devil's Advocates. We're coming back with a super duper 5 o'clock happy half hour. Please stick around.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
Republicans hijacked a Supreme Court appointment.
Will appropriately revisit the matter when it considers the qualifications of the nominee the next president nominates.
They have continued with the irresponsible nominations of unfit jurists by an unfit president.
I'd be struggling to remember.
We certainly have our own Supreme Court issues in Wisconsin.
Scott Walker was breaking laws.
We need a progressive justice who will stand up to the corruption that comes before the court, not one who will be complicit with it. Vote Tim Burns for Wisconsin Supreme Court, paid for by Burns for Wisconsin.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
Farming is one of the most difficult and dangerous jobs in America. It's a fact of farming life that when the equipment breaks down, the farmer is the one doing the fixing. One of our challenging cases involved a Dodge County farmer who was left paralyzed while repairing a farm wagon that had a defective design. The jury found the manufacturer negligent and awarded our client damages, including pain, suffering, disability, and a significant amount in loss of society and companionship to his spouse. If your life is disrupted by injury or other legal dispute, Lawton & Cates can help you achieve a successful result. Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton & Cates, 282-6200.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Special report, stock market plunge. Another sell-off on Wall Street has led to the Dow Jones Industrial Average's steepest one-day point drop ever, with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq both losing 4% today. Georgetown University finance professor Rina Agarwal says it was time for a stock market pullback after months of gains.
We've seen a very bull market for the last year or so. So it's not surprising to have this correction. It was just a matter of when it would take place.
Correspondent Claire Sebastian reports investors are anxious.
10-year bond yields on U.S. Treasuries are up at 4-year highs right now, and that is leading some to be concerned that as we edge towards the 3% mark, that critical point, that people might start to move out of stocks and into bonds.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1,175 points. That is a drop of 5%. The S&P 500 closed down 113 points. The Nasdaq off 273. I'm Ann Cates. President Trump has tweeted about a GOP memo criticizing the intelligence community. California Congressman Adam Schiff says the president is concerned about the Mueller probe.
This president, like Nixon, has his own enemies list, and anyone who was involved in the Russia investigation is basically on that list. So, of course, it includes people like Brennan and Clapper and Comey, myself and Warner, all of those who were the subject of this tweet.
Investigators say a locked train switch is to blame for the collision of an Amtrak train and a freight train near Columbia, South Carolina. National Transportation Safety Board Chairman Robert Sumwalt says it was a head-on crash.
It was indeed a locomotive-to-locomotive strike, and the CSX train was moved back approximately 15 feet from its original standing position.
An Amtrak conductor and an engineer were killed and dozens of passengers injured. I'm Ann Cates.
Make a resolution, Milwaukee, to eat your fruits and vegetables. Go to the new Pete's Fruit Market on Martin Luther King and North Ave. Find the freshest fruit, always the perfect peach. Pete's Fruit Market is a brand new, modern, full-service grocery with an in-store butcher shop. Go see the manager, Vidal, for daily specials at the new Pete's Fruit Market on North Ave in MLK. Tell them that the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Elf.com. Lots of job creation at Google in 2018.
Google says it will hire thousands nationwide this year. Workers needed to fill new offices and data centers in 9 states. Google CEO Sundar Pichai wasn't specific about how many will be hired in specific locations, other than to say Colorado and Michigan will be among the first states to see new job opportunities. Pichai added that there will soon be 5 more new data centers in the U.S. before the end of the year. The company currently has 6 open data centers in states including Oklahoma, Iowa, and North Carolina. I'm Michael Toscano.
A New Hampshire woman who says she has a Powerball ticket that won a $560 million jackpot wants a court order allowing her to stay anonymous despite state law. The woman, identified as Jane Doe, says she signed the back of the ticket following the January 6th drawing. She then contacted a lawyer and learned she could have shielded her identity by instead writing the name of a trust. I'm Ann Cates.
On the line, Miss Patty Flowers. She is Red Cross.
I'm the CEO for the state of Wisconsin.
Wow. Well, we couldn't have had a better person to represent the Red Cross.
Well, I think the number one thing that we've got to remember is that people are suffering, and this is the time of year when it's even worse during the holidays.
You are going to continue the same policy that you've had for decades when it comes to the east side. But these other zip codes, it's where you're changing the policy. Can you see where people may have a question about that?
We are going into the zip codes. We're just simply asking that people come to us and meet us.
Is this because Milwaukee is perceived to be unsafe? Milwaukee Central City.
We have long-standing agreements with taxi companies in the state.
The Earl Ingram Show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m., Saturdays noon to 3 on WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Come on!
Good afternoon. It is 5:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The jobs at Foxconn will cost Wisconsin taxpayers more than 8 times as much per job as similar job deals that were done last year, according to the Journal Sentinel analysis. The cost per job for the Taiwanese company would be more than $200,000, more than 3 times as much as the next costly deal. Economists and Democrats have criticized the Foxconn deal for its high cost. In addition to the $2.85 billion in cash that Foxconn will receive for creating 13,000 jobs, the company will not have to pay any corporate taxes or income taxes and will have $150 million in sales tax waived. Tonight's snow endings around 10 p.m., lows around 5 degrees. Currently still snowing. The commute is getting ugly out there. It's 11 degrees in Milwaukee, 8 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m., my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we're sliding into the happier half hour.
The most happy half hour.
Post-Super Bowl. I got no hangover. I wonder if Tom Brady's feeling a little fuzzy in his head today.
He was taking a couple of hits yesterday. He might be a little fuzzy.
He's a little less than graceful. How do you not shake the
certainly not gracious
winner's hand, Dom?
It's poor sportsmanship. And I guess I just chalk it up to being a big fat baby.
I think it's also a reflection on the treasonous, unpatriotic fans of the Patriots.
Well, no question.
They should call them the unpatriots.
Brian, you have any comment on that?
Big boy was all proud last week. Oh,
I couldn't shut him up.
Goo goo gaga.
Trying to stay humble, you know, we're going to win. Brady needs another appendage to put his Super Bowl ring. Well, that one's going into Putin's drawer, apparently. Dom, let's get back to the politics here. Let's not squander.
No, of course not.
Our bonus coverage. This I took as good news. Supreme Court refuses to block Pennsylvania ruling invalidating congressional map. Now, I would point out, Wisconsin, our gerrymandering of assembly districts and by extension, state Senate districts is before the U.S. Supreme Court. Oral arguments heard last fall. We may have a ruling coming soon. And there are 2 other federal rulings that are currently on hold. 3 different states were told to redraw the very partisan maps. They included Wisconsin, Texas, and North Carolina. And in each case, the U.S. Supreme Court said, hold off on that. Don't follow the lower court's verdict, specifically to Republicans. We'll decide this thing. And so Wisconsin's before the courts, and the democratically gerrymandered Maryland, so you got a little cover, both sides do it, and all that kind of stuff. But this was an encouraging development. Robert Barnes at the Post. The Supreme Court on Monday denied a request from Pennsylvania Republicans to delay redrawing congressional lines, meaning the 2018 elections in the state will probably be held in districts far more favorable to Democrats. Justice Samuel Alito Jr., who hears emergency requests from the state, turned down the petition without obvious objection from his colleagues. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court last month ruled that the state's Republican legislative leaders had violated the law. That seems quite common. Had violated the state constitution, by unfairly favoring the GOP. Although there are more registered Democrats than Republicans in the state, Republicans hold 13 of 18 congressional seats.
Damn!
It is the most significant victory by critics of the way most congressional and legislative districts are drawn, and a sign that their efforts will be felt as early as this fall's midterm elections. Federal courts in Texas, North Carolina, and Wisconsin found that politics or intentional discrimination played an unacceptable role in drawing electoral lines and ordered new districts in place for 18 elections, but the Supreme Court stopped those decisions. The justices are traditionally reluctant to order changes in an election year, and they have never thrown out a state's redistricting plan because they found it so infected with partisan bias that it violates voters' constitutional rights. I'll wait till the newest ruling to come, Dom. Unless and until it does, the subject is under review at the High Court. The justices have routinely told states found to be offenders that they do not have to immediately redraw the maps, which almost surely means that they would not be in place for the 18 elections. But the previous decisions had been by federal courts weighing how gerrymandering might violate the U.S. Constitution. The Pennsylvania case was brought under the Commonwealth's Constitution, and the U.S. Supreme Court generally does not interfere in such decisions. Those challenging gerrymandering now see the state route as perhaps a quicker way to their goal, Dom.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court last month ruled that the congressional maps drawn by Republican legislature in 2011, quote, clearly, plainly, and palpably violates the Commonwealth's Constitution. It demanded a quick redrawing of the lines so the 2018 elections could be held in fairer districts. Pennsylvania's Supreme Court justices are elected and, with Democrats in the majority, voted along party lines in demanding a change to the districts. Republicans hold 13 of the 18 congressional seats in what is usually considered a swing state. The ruling gives Democrats a chance to win more of those seats as they try to tip the balance in the House. Republican legislative leaders in Pennsylvania had asked the Supreme Court to put the decision on hold, and other Republican-led states told the justices that they should refrain from ordering new districts anywhere, even if they find later this term that there is a way to gauge extreme partisan gerrymandering. Put simply, there's no need to hurry. In an amicus brief filed by Republican officials in Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, and South Carolina, they noted that the 2020 census will require new lines to be drawn nationwide anyway.
Which are affected by the gerrymandered lines drawn in the last
And yeah, don't worry about the
census
gerrymandering.
year.
Since it's gerrymandered in our favor as a Republican saying this.
Don't hurry.
Don't rush. The Pennsylvania's Republican legislative leaders told the Supreme Court that just as the court decided to reverse the Florida Supreme Court in Bush v. Gore, there is a federal issue at stake. The U.S. Constitution's election clause provides that the times, places, and manner of congressional elections shall be decided by the legislature of each state or by Congress. That leaves no room for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to usurp the legislature's power under vague interpretations of the state's guarantees of free speech and equal protection, the state Republicans say. The court's 5-2 ruling was not accompanied by a detailed opinion. It said one would come later. For the first time in U.S. history, a state court, in attempting to play the role of lawmaker, has invalidated a congressional districting plan without identifying a violation of the U.S. Constitution or a state constitutional or statutory provision providing specific redistricting criteria, the GOP leaders told the court. But the League of Women Voters in Pennsylvania, one of the challengers of the plan, told the court in its response brief that the Supreme Court on numerous occasions has said the meaning of a legislature in the Constitution is not so literal. To rule for the Commonwealth's legislative leaders, this court would need to overrule no fewer than 6 of its precedents, all upholding the power of state courts to review and remedy unconstitutional congressional districting plans, the group's brief said. It added, their state applications are just a ploy to preserve a congressional map that violates Pennsylvania's Constitution for one more election cycle.
And Dominic, I would say gerrymandering goes against the will of the people. Certainly it does here in the state of Wisconsin. Our friend Bruce Murphy, UrbanMilwaukee.com, reports in his headline today, majority now backs fair redistricting. 37 counties, talking about Wisconsin counties, 2/3 of the state's population have passed Fair Maps resolution. Last week, the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition announced that 37 Wisconsin counties have now passed a Fair Maps resolution calling on the legislature to reform legislative district map drawing process and put an independent, nonpartisan commission in charge of this. Those counties represent about 2/3 of the state's population, the group noted, and more than 70% of the counties voted for the Republican candidate for president in 2016. The list of counties passing the resolution span the state, from Douglas and Bayfield counties in the far north to Walworth and Kenosha counties in the southeast, from Marinette and Door counties along Lake Michigan to La Crosse and Verdon counties along the Mississippi. Research has shown that Wisconsin is one of the most gerrymandered states in modern history. As currently drawn, the district maps enable Republicans to win a majority of assembly seats if they only get 45% of the statewide vote, as data wonk columnist Bruce Thompson has computed. A federal court ruled in Gill v. Whitford that the state's current legislative district maps are unconstitutional and violate Wisconsin citizens' rights. Those cases have been appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is yet to rule on it. Let's not forget, Attorney General Brad Schimmel refuses to redraw the maps in the interim. He's hoping for what? A Republican Hail Mary? That's what Gorsuch was all about, right?
Yep.
I read on, in the meantime, a coalition of about a dozen good government groups, including the League of Women Voters, Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, and Common Cause, have formed the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition to advocate passage of the resolution demanding that the state adopt a system like Iowa's, where maps are drawn not by legislators of either party, but by a nonpartisan group. For at least 2 years, this effort has steadily added more counties that have passed the Fair Maps resolution. And Dom, a poll by Democratic-leading PPP done last October found a large majority of voters supported nonpartisan redistricting. The poll asked, do you think the drawing of legislative and congressional district lines should be decided by the legislature and governor or by an independent nonpartisan commission? Just 16% of respondents favored lines being drawn by the governor and legislators. 63% favored it being done by a nonpartisan commission.
Yes!
That is the vast majority of Wisconsinites. 37 counties, 2/3 of the population, everybody but the Republicans want this change. And I would point out, look to Maryland Republicans. You might lose an election, and then you would be on the short end, and we would rub it in. We treasonous, unpatriotic Dems would stick it to you if we had the chance. Come back with us. More Devils, 844-967-2789. You could have the last word of this big show.
I mean, you punched that baby.
Is anyone asking how my hand feels after punching that iron-like jaw of that baby?
How was your hand?
I can't even make a fist.
Ugh.
I tell you right now, though, I'm so angered by seeing that, I wish I could go out and punch that baby again.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
It's a baby!
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Driving means
freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
protection, friendship,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police,
devastation,
injury,
death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel,
I don't have a lot of expertise,
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't even know my own website address.
Even some conservatives questioned his ability.
You can always say no to a request for an interview, and I kind of wish Mr. Schimmel had said no. I don't think he was ready for that.
Schimmel claims to be all about law and order.
You start with the default position that yes, you will enforce the laws.
Apparently, even if that means enforcing a 1960s-style ban on interracial marriage.
It might be distasteful to me, but I've got to stay consistent with that as the state's lawyer. It's not my job to pick and choose.
Wisconsin deserves a competent attorney general.
We've got to go.
Yes, Brad Schimmel, you do got to go. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me. Get granular. Keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. So relevant, they have one foot in tomorrow.
Advocates Radio Show, last segment of the day. So if you got something to say, now's the time. You can give us a call toll-free nationwide, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, hearing this Boston, this New England associated music, it makes me want to swear. The only reason I find this music acceptable, because the Dropkick Murphys literally hate Governor Scott Walker.
Yes. Fantastic. Curdy, before we get to swearing, saw this one. I thought it was interesting. Quick headline. Indiana man sues after being ticketed for giving state trooper the finger.
Haven't we all wanted to give a state trooper the finger?
Filed a lawsuit claiming his constitutional rights were violated when he was ticketed for giving an Indiana state trooper the finger.
The guy cut him off.
Mark May seeking unspecified damages against police master trooper Matt Ames, citing in a complaint that with the ACLU in Indiana. May said in a lawsuit he flashed the middle finger to the state trooper after he claims he was cut off by Ames, who was pulling over another driver on U.S. Route 41. May was issued a provocation ticket, which carries a fine of up to $500 after he gave the trooper the rude gesture, which Indiana Criminal Code states is issued when, quote, a person who recklessly, knowingly, or intentionally engages in conduct that is likely to provoke a reasonable person to commit battery commits provocation. Kenneth Falk, the legal director of the ACLU Indiana, argued that May's gesture towards Ames was fully protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. While perhaps ill-advised, Mr. May's gesture, which in no way interfered with Master Trooper's lawful activities, was fully protected by the First Amendment.
Well, Dominic, the bleepity bleep FCC makes us turn this fine radio station off every afternoon at sunset. That makes me want to swear, but for the sake of Mr. Mays, someone on the interwebs has provided me with some alternative swears. Dom, I'm going to share some with the audience.
Excellent.
For your use. These are, kid-friendly, mom-approved sort of swears.
I just want to know the F word. What's my option?
Well, if I'm miffed, I could say shucks, rats, shizzle.
Shucks.
Crapola, sheesh, flippin', phooey, hack, shoot, jeepers, jeez, crud, dang, darn it, bleep, booger, snot, wingnut, nerds, criminy, cripes, crepes, caca.
Caca?
Here are a few.
Caca's allowed?
Here's a few more, Dom. If you're exasperated, you could say, gadzooks, bullsnot, fiddle faddle, crud muffin, cotton pickin' malarkey, what the hey, shucky darn, confound it. I'm jumping ahead on some of these. Son of a Baptist preacher. That's Scott Walker, right? Also, son of a nutcracker, son of a motherless goat. Horse, as in horse bleep. Horse pucky, horse feathers, horse patootie. You're a little resembling of horse patootie yourself,
those are terrible options. Come on, the F word is one of the most versatile words known to mankind.
Shut your pie hole. That's on the list. Heavens to Betsy.
What is a pie hole?
Betsy's a little profane in her own right.
Yeah, we love...
Not quite as heavens to Ronnie. She's a little more profane.
Profane Ronnie, way more profane.
We love profane Ronnie. What the devil? I might use that one. What the devil? Jumpin' Jehoshaphat.
What?
You fart knocker. You booger snot. You G Willikers HE double hockey sticks. Shut the front door. Suck eggs. That's what's got. Oh, no. Suck lemons.
Lemons, yes. Suck lemons.
That's what the son of a Baptist preacher would use as his strong, profane words.
Those are
For heaven's sake.
Oh, there we go.
For the love of Pete. For crying out loud.
There you go.
I'm going to need some stronger substitute swear words. Senator Shat. This whole place is a Senator Shat hole. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Want to thank our fine guest today. He was Mandela Barnes, a lieutenant gubernatorial candidate, a Democrat, a friend of ours. Hope you listen tomorrow. It's going to be more bad Republican, nefarious, malfeasant, bad governance. For the love of
cripes.
Crepes.
I don't know any. I don't like.
Gee Willikers,
I don't like any of those.
No, they're
Those
not
are
quite
terrible.
harsh enough.
No, not at all.
Nothing but full-fledged profanity from us.
Soinks.
From here on out. Have a great night. We'll do it all again tomorrow. 3.5 hours of the greatest radio show ever. Going bonus coverage all February long right here on News Talk 1510 AM, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio. Have a good night. Drive safe.
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Man, come on. I had a rough night, and I hate the f***ing Eagles, man.
Can we call that treason? Why not?
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with